Divine and mysterious immortality. I start my cultivation by adding points as a butcher. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26, Crazy Skin Refining, Endless Torment. A big iron pot, 1 liang 4 jin 5 fen. 50 jin of iron sand, 13 wen per jin, a total of 6 jin 5 fen. A can of tiger bone skin refining ointment originally costs 1 liang 5 jin, and it is 7 jin 5 fen if you buy it at half price. In Uncle Lou's yard, Wei Hong was counting the bills with a frown on his face, and a pile of leather refining equipment he had just bought was placed beside him. He suddenly found that his pockets, which had just become richer, were suddenly shriveled again. The 5 liang gift from Zhu Sihe was only 150 wen left. Are you distressed? Lu Shan joked while smoking a dry pipe. This is just the most basic expense. I don't know how much resources I have to spend to complete the skin refining. Next, I have to buy firewood, stove charcoal, and ointment every day, and the money has to be spent like water. The poor are good at literature and the rich are good at martial arts. The ancients were not wrong. Wei Hong sighed. No way. Lu Shan tapped his pipe and said with a smile, recently, there have been rebellions among the vassal kings in various places, and the price of iron has also soared. Now a pound of pig iron has to be sold for 17 coins. Your big pot uses at least 40 to 50 pounds of pig iron, plus the blacksmith's wages. Tut tut tut. Ah. Wei Hong shook his head helplessly. He decided to find a martial arts school to earn some extra money after he succeeded in skin refining. Uncle, my shack is too small to practice body. Wei Hong said casually, you can leave the things here. I will come to practice for a while before dusk or after dinner every day. I will buy some charcoal and other things another day. It's up to you. Lu Shan nodded and asked back, do you want to practice now? There's still some charcoal at home. Of course. Wei Hong was not polite. He built a stove directly in the yard. The big iron pot was set on it, and then iron sand was poured in. Then he found firewood and charcoal to heat it, and soon white smoke began to sizzle in the pot. Don't use too much fire. Lu Shan patiently instructed, you have just started to refine the skin, you can't bear too high a temperature. When the iron sand is hot, you can turn it to low heat. Okay. Wei Hong nodded and agreed. But in fact, he didn't care much about the temperature of the flame. He took a deep breath and took off his coat. In this world of ice and snow, he was shirtless and raised his hand to stab into the iron pot. Sizzle. A sharp pain came. The iron sand in the pot was already extremely hot. Wei Hong's hands were like reaching into a frying pan. Not only was every inch of his skin burned, but the sharp iron sand also directly cut his palms, and blood came out. Are you crazy? Lu Shan gasped in fear. You dare not apply ointment for your first time to refine the skin? Hurry up and practice your skills. Huh? SHH. Wei Hong was not in a hurry, and began to breathe despite the severe pain. The practice method of 100 forging golden body skill is not complicated. Qi and blood are transported to the hands through several meridians, and the arms immediately become thicker due to congestion. The severe pain was reduced by 3 points, but it was still unbearable. The skin on Wei Hong's palms had begun to fester, roll up, and bleed. The air was filled with the aroma of barbecue, which shocked Lu Shan. Are you going to die? Lu Shan hurriedly came over to stop him. Stop applying the ointment quickly, otherwise your hands will be useless. It doesn't matter. Wei Hong's cheeks twitched in pain, and he forced a smile to comfort him. I just want to try how much it hurts without applying the ointment. I know my limits. You have no limits. Lu Shan was so angry that he jumped up and down. Haha. Wei Hong finally retracted his hand. After washing it with clean water, the injury on his palm was even more shocking. Lu Shan frowned and turned around to get the medicine for the wound, but Wei Hong raised his hand to stop him and directly applied the tiger bone skin refining ointment on both hands. Hiss. A hint of coolness began to cover the skin. The severe pain in both hands was relieved by 3 points, and at the same time, the strong medicinal power began to invade the skin membrane, slowly strengthening the skin. This tiger bone skin refining ointment not only has the effect of anesthesia and analgesia, but also can nourish the skin membrane and accelerate the speed of skin repair. No wonder people in the world have to rely on the power of ointment to refine the skin. Wei Hong silently compared it in his mind. He found that there was a big difference before and after using the ointment. The first is the pain. If you don't use the ointment, most people really can't stand it. After using the ointment to relieve pain, you can still bear it by gritting your teeth. The second is the skin refining effect. Without the ointment, relying solely on qi and blood to repair the skin membrane is not only slow, but also the strengthening effect is average. After using the ointment, relying on the power of the medicine to strengthen the skin membrane repair speed and strengthening effect must be at least 3 to 5 times improved. Did you see the clue? Lu Shan joked cheerfully, "You kid won't turn back until you hit the wall." Skin refining cannot be done without ointment, and this is just the most common secret medicine for skin refining. It is said that the secret medicine used by the children of the rich and powerful in the rich and powerful families is more than 1,000 times more expensive than yours. Practicing martial arts is like a money-eating beast. Wei Hong sighed again. "Uncle, you go and do your work first. I will study it myself for a while." "Okay." Lu Shan nodded, turned around and went into the house. Wei Hong looked around and saw that there was no one around, so he decisively added 1 point of vitality to his health value. Then a warm current swept through his body, and finally spontaneously went to his injured hands, and began to repair the injuries on his palms. Huh? Wei Hong's eyes widened in surprise. He found that the speed of vitality repairing injuries was more than 10 times or even 100 times faster than the ointment. The bleeding hands quickly stopped bleeding, and this warm energy also penetrated deeply into the membrane, directly covering up the power of the ointment, and the membrane also became stronger by multiples. It seems that I can save money to buy skin refining secret medicine in the future. Wei Hong couldn't help but feel very happy. Ordinary people have to save money to buy secret medicine for martial arts training. The rich and powerful spend a lot of money on nourishing soup and medicine every month. He only needs to kill a pig in the butcher shop to nourish himself easily. The effect is 10 or 100 times that of others. Who cannot be ecstatic? Don't be proud. A tall building is built from the ground, and everything can only be done by yourself. The golden finger is just an auxiliary. If you want to become stronger, you have to endure endless suffering. Wei Hong silently comforted himself. After taking a deep breath, he continued to insert his hand into the iron pot. Chi chi chi. Waves of white smoke surged, and he took a breath of cold air in pain. The life value on the attribute panel actually fluctuated slightly. Wei Hong gritted his teeth and added another 10 points of vitality. He grabbed the hot iron sand and rubbed it on his arm regardless of anything. Ah! The pain like slow slicing came. It almost made people's teeth break. Such a rough way of refining the skin would probably shock countless people if they were told about it. But Wei Hong persisted. Although he was trembling with pain and sweating, his eyes were fierce and tough, and his hands did not flinch and continued to rub. Gradually, his hands were covered in blood. He gritted his teeth and grabbed the iron sand and rubbed it on the skin of his upper body. Chapter 27, Martial Arts School Sparring Partner, A, B, C, D. Skin refining is a process of destruction and repair. Wei Hong felt deeply about it the first time he refined skin. He clearly felt that his skin was getting stronger. This feeling was both painful and enjoyable. It was really addictive. Half an hour passed in a flash. The vitality on the attribute board was consumed at an alarming rate. Finally, his realm column changed from blank to the initial stage of skin refining realm 1/100. 100 points of vitality can only guarantee half an hour of skin refining and repair. So I can only refine skin for about an hour every day in the future. And I have only made a little progress after practicing for so long. So, doesn't it take 100 days to reach the middle stage of skin refining? No wonder people say that it takes 3 years to refine skin and 10 years to refine blood. It's really a slow process. Wei Hong calculated for a while and stopped with a wry smile. At this moment, the skin on his upper body was already red and black. There were also many scars, as if it had been cut and healed again and again with a knife. At the same time, a lot of dead skin appeared on his skin. At first glance, it was the product of the new skin being shed. Compared with other skins that have not been tempered, they have become tougher and stronger. Not only has the pain been greatly reduced, but they have also become as thick as cowhide. A punch on it was like hitting cowhide. Not bad. Wei Hong smiled with satisfaction. With his crazy level of practice, plus the help of vitality, it should not be a problem for 1 day of practice to be comparable to an ordinary person's 1 month. It's just that practicing in Uncle Lou's yard is a bit inconvenient after all. He can be shirtless when practicing the upper body, but what about practicing other parts? He subconsciously looked at his crotch and couldn't help feeling a pain in his balls. I still have to rent a yard myself. It's not very convenient to practice here after all. And the city has become more and more chaotic recently. The slums are no longer suitable for living. It's cold and the shack is leaking everywhere. Although I can bear it, my grandfather can't. After thinking about it, Wei Hong gradually had the idea of moving. In fact, since the last time that the shopkeeper Lin of Xinghu Pavilion wanted to rent the yard for free, he had already had the idea of moving, but he was too poor to ask for it for free. Now he has been promoted to knifeman, and he has 3 taels of silver per month. If he earns some extra money, it will not be difficult to rent a yard and move out. The second day, taking advantage of the 2 days of vacation. After having breakfast early in the morning, Wei Hong went straight to East Street. There are 3 martial arts halls here, the largest of which is called Iron Fist Martial Arts Hall. It is said that the owner of the hall once fought all over Kangzhou and Shuzhou with a pair of iron fists. He came to Chengdu to open a business after middle age, and now he has been established for more than 20 years. This place is not far from the slums in Xiuji meat shop. Wei Hong has also been here to deliver goods, and knows the details of this martial arts hall. They recruit disciples to teach martial arts all year round, and the minimum monthly tuition fee is 10 taels of silver. Although the disciples are mixed, the worst who can practice martial arts here is from a well-off family. Wei Hong found a martial arts hall to make money, not to learn from a master. Therefore, he didn't care whether the Iron Fist martial arts school had real skills or not, as long as the disciples had money. The martial arts school covers an area of about 2 or 3 acres. There are 2 domineering bronze lions at the door to protect the house, and a carved dragon and phoenix archway is erected at the gate. The facade is very impressive. As soon as you walk to the door, you can hear bursts of shouting. When you walk in, you will see a martial arts training ground paved with bluestone slabs. 70 or 80 young boys and girls in plain white training clothes are practicing, sweating profusely. Going further back, there are several small martial arts training grounds. The disciples who practice martial arts here are a little older and stronger. Quick, punch quickly, use your waist to generate power. The basic boxing of our martial arts school can not only fight and kill, but also has the effect of strengthening the foundation and nourishing the essence. If you want to stand out, practice hard. A tall middle-aged strong man was patrolling and supervising. Once he saw someone with a non-standard posture, he would immediately whip him. The Great Zhou dynasty was founded on martial arts, and almost everyone practiced martial arts. Therefore, even if these young men and women spent money here, they could not enjoy the treatment of masters, and some were only treated harshly. Little brother, are you here to learn martial arts from a master? As soon as Wei Hong walked in, a young man came forward to greet him. The middle-aged strong man who was walking around took a look and couldn't help cursing. Learn a art of martial arts? This is someone from Xiuji butcher shop. What's the matter? Did our martial arts school settle the meat money clearly? No. Wei Hong bowed and said, I just heard that your school hired someone to practice with me, and I wanted to earn some hard-earned money. Coach Luo should not mind, right? Practice with me. The middle-aged strong man glanced up and down, and smiled and praised, your body is strong enough, and your blood is abundant. Have you just started to refine your skin? Not bad, not bad. Luming, take him to try the water. Yes. The young man who spoke just now agreed respectfully. He made a gesture of invitation and said, brother, come this way. Thank you, I'm Wei Hong. I'm Luming, a formal disciple of the martial arts school. I usually do some errands and odd jobs. You can just call me by my name. Luming was obviously a talkative person. As he led Wei Hong in, he explained, most of the sparring partners in our martial arts school are disciples from ordinary families, but if someone wants to come and earn some hard-earned money, we are also welcome. There are 4 types of sparring partners in the martial arts school, A, B, C, and D. If the disciples in the school are willing to spend money, even the owner and deputy owner of the school can come. Brother Wei, you are a newcomer, but your blood and ki are much stronger than ordinary people, and you are a butcher in the butcher shop, so you should be evaluated as a Class C sparring partner. As they were talking, the 2 arrived at a small martial arts training ground. There were 20 or 30 people here practicing boxing. From their clothes, it can be seen that they should belong to 3 classes. The first is naturally the sponsor class. They were dressed in gorgeous clothes and looked very impressive. They were obviously disciples from wealthy families in the Iron Fist martial arts school. They were often the ones who attacked crazily when sparring with others. The second type of people wore the training clothes of the Iron Fist martial arts school, but were beaten black and blue. They were obviously civilian disciples from poorer families. There were also a few who were dressed in simple linen short coats like Wei Hong. They could be seen as hired foreign warriors at a glance. Brother Lu, how do you evaluate the 4 levels of A, B, C, and D in your school? Wei Hong asked with interest. Also, how are they treated? Lu Ming introduced. Let's talk about the treatment first. A D-level sparring partner is 50 won per cup of tea, a C-level sparring partner is 100 won per cup of tea, a B-level sparring partner is 500 won per cup of tea, and an A-level sparring partner is 2 taels of silver per cup of tea. So much? Wei Hong was secretly shocked. Of course. Lu Ming chuckled and explained, for us common people, this is definitely a sky-high price, but for these rich kids, a few taels of silver is just the cost of a meal. And it's not easy to persist in a high-intensity sparring session for a cup of tea. Once there is an injury, the other party will not be responsible. This is selling your life for money, so it's naturally not cheap. No wonder, this is using your life as a punching bag to make money. Wei Hong suddenly realized. Please vote and read on. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28, Thinking Misconceptions, Amazing. Higher returns often mean high risks. This principle is eternal, and Wei Hong naturally understands it. He silently observed the sparring situations of the people in the martial arts training field, and found that it was really quite dangerous. Many disciples had been beaten black and blue, and it was unknown whether they would have internal injuries in the end. At first glance, the income from being a sparring partner is really good. But if you get injured, this little money may not even be enough to buy medicine. If you are unlucky enough to break your hands or feet or injure your internal organs, the consequences are self-evident. What, are you scared? Lu Ming advised with a smile, Brother Wei, if you are not in a hurry to use the money, you'd better think it over carefully. Being a sparring partner is not an easy thing. If our disciples are our sparring partners, the children of the rich and powerful may be able to give face to our brothers and not use heavy hands. If outsiders come to be sparring partners, they will beat them to death. Wei Hong smiled indifferently. It's understandable. After all, they have spent money, so they naturally want to gain something in the battle, and it is inevitable to use heavy hands. It's good that you can understand. Lu Ming nodded in appreciation and continued, so it's not easy to eat this bowl of rice. You can't hurt the sponsor, and you can't hurt yourself. You have to let the sponsor practice to your heart's content. The degree is very difficult to grasp. At this time, a young man in the martial arts training field screamed. He was caught off guard by a negligence, and was hit on the heart and lungs by the sponsor. Not only did he fly back 3 or 4 meters on the spot, but he also fell to the ground and vomited blood crazily. Waste. The richly dressed sponsor frowned in displeasure. He threw down a string of copper coins and ignored him. See. Lu Ming sighed and shook his head. The world is difficult, and it's not easy to make money. Brother Wei, do you still want to be a sparring partner? Of course. Wei Hong answered decisively. He didn't care about being injured. Anyway, he had a chance to recover from his injuries. It would be hard for him to find such a good job that can make money and refine skin even if he looked for a lantern. Well, Lu Ming stopped persuading and said directly, I will be your sparring partner later to simply judge your strength. Among the 4 types of treatments, A, B, C, and D, the A level must have the strength above the blood refining realm. The B level must have the strength above the late stage of skin refining, and there is no strength requirement for the C and D levels. As long as you can hold on for a cup of tea, it will be fine. Wei Hong twisted his neck and immediately took off his coat. He was only wearing a short coat, with muscles intertwined and strong like a brown bear. He immediately attracted the attention of other people in the martial arts training field. Hey, is there a new sparring partner? Interesting, this guy has a lot of energy and a good body. Haha, I hope he can hold on, otherwise it's boring to always bully the weak. The crowd's voices were either joking or sarcastic. Wei Hong remained indifferent. He silently posed a starting posture of the five beasts fist and humbly said, "Please teach me." "Okay." Lu Ming clasped his fists and said, "I am a mid-stage skin refining cultivator, with a single arm strength of 580 kilograms. I practice the iron arm copper hammer fist of our gym. Brother Wei, be careful." After speaking, Lu Ming took a step forward like lightning. The next moment, the fist wind was already blowing in his face. "Ha!" Wei Hong roared, and instead of retreating, he rushed forward to meet him. The five beasts' fists' hungry tiger pounced on the opponent's vital point, frightening Lu Ming so much that he pulled back with a start. Instead, he took the initiative to attack. 7-point chain. Monkey pays respects to his parents. Picking flowers and playing in the water. Black bear hits a tree. Wei Hong became more and more ferocious, and his punches and kicks seemed to be natural. He even forced Lu Ming to retreat again and again. Hiss. Everyone present stopped and couldn't help but gasp. Who is this man? He is so ferocious. Look at the five-beast fist he uses, it's simply superb. I'm afraid he has put in a lot of hard work. Awesome, but he seems to have just started to refine his skin, how come? While everyone was surprised, Lu Ming's heart was even more shocked. He was obviously stronger than Wei Hong, and he often had an overwhelming advantage when his fists collided. Even his own boxing was stronger than the common five-beast fist. But Wei Hong had already practiced his boxing to the state of great success. His boxing and kicking skills were performed in a seamless manner, sometimes as ferocious as a bear or tiger, and sometimes as swift as a cheetah. When he turned and moved, he was even more agile like a monkey and a white crane. Even every move was stuck at Lu Ming's force point. He was forced to move forward and backward, and every move was very uncomfortable and tormenting. Good boy. Luo Jiaotao was also attracted at this time. He watched the two people constantly colliding and fighting in the field, and couldn't help but exclaimed, "This looks a bit like a sparring partner." Not bad, he has been practicing the five-beast fist for 10 years. How old was this kid when he started practicing martial arts? But shouldn't sparring be passive defense? A young man in brocade clothes frowned and asked, "Who said that?" Luo Jiaotao sneered dissatisfiedly, "The purpose of martial artists sparring is to accumulate martial arts experience. If you can only passively take a beating, what's the difference between you and a wooden man? If you spend money just to beat someone up, why bother to come to the martial arts hall to waste time?" Everyone immediately felt that it made sense. In the past, everyone fell into a kind of misconception. Sparring partners always dare not fight to the death, for fear of accidentally hurting the sponsor. In this way, the fight will naturally be very uncomfortable. The sponsor spent money but did not gain much experience in fighting. The sparring partner did not dare to fight back after being beaten. It was even more childish than a child playing house. Now look at Wei Hong and Lu Ming's fight. He did not hurt Lu Ming, but forced him to do his best. In the continuous high-intensity battle, both of them have gained a lot. Good, good, good. Lu Ming became more and more excited as he fought, and many of his moves became more and more integrated. His boxing skills grew to a degree visible to the naked eye. A cup of tea passed in a flash. When Wei Hong jumped back and left the battlefield, Lu Ming was still unsatisfied and sighed, "Not bad, not bad, you just broke my one-word punch with a tiger sweep, it was really amazing, come again." "No hurry." Wei Hong joked casually, "I don't know if I have passed the test. If you fight again, you have to pay more." "Huh?" Lu Ming's face froze. Coach Luo laughed out loud, "You're right, you'll have to pay more if you fight again. You're good at the five beasts fist, so let's give you a Class C treatment first. In the future, I'll earn 100 coins for a cup of tea, and if we fight with swords, the price will double." "Thank you, Coach Luo." Wei Hong smiled happily when he heard that. It's really easy to make money by risking your life, and this time it was not in vain. Class C treatment, right? Okay, let's fight again. Lu Ming couldn't wait to say, "Even if I bleed a lot today, I have to ask Brother Wei for advice." Seeing this, Wei Hong couldn't help but chuckle secretly. Does he think he has mastered the essence of the industry? Look, isn't the business here? Chapter 29 Born with supernatural powers and thick skin. Second sparring. Lu Ming decisively seized the opportunity and rushed over. He punched straight to the middle, and when Wei Hong dodged to the side, his left hand reached down like lightning. Awesome, a one-word punch combined with a monkey stealing peaches. Everyone exclaimed, but Wei Hong was not panicked at all. Instead of retreating, he dodged and took the initiative to move over. The huge body had an extreme sense of oppression, and if someone hit him, he would probably vomit blood and be seriously injured. Lu Ming was frightened and changed his moves repeatedly, and Wei Hong took the opportunity to turn defense into offense with a turnaround elbow strike and seized the opportunity. Bang bang bang. The two fought back and forth crazily. Between the collision of fists and feet, the attacks that could not be avoided often had to be gritted and endured. Soon, both of them suffered many heavy blows. At first, Lu Ming gritted his teeth and fought against Wei Hong. But gradually he found something wrong. The pain from the beating was unbearable. Not only were his movements easily deformed, but his energy consumption was also very exaggerated. After a while, he was sweating profusely and exhausted. But Wei Hong seemed to be injected with chicken blood and became more and more courageous. His fists and feet were useless to him. He was like a ferocious beast that was insensitive to pain and tireless. The fight was only despairing. Stop, stop, stop. Before the time was up, Lu Ming had already jumped out of the battle circle on his own initiative. I lost. You are definitely a freak. Lu Ming had no choice but to admit defeat with a bitter smile. Thank you. Wei Hong humbly clasped his fists. A long breath of exhaust gas came out of his mouth. Then his originally closed pores suddenly opened, and a large amount of sweat gushed out, turning into bursts of white mist that spread around, and the surging blood in his body gradually calmed down a little. Good boy. Luo couldn't help but praise him. Your control over ki and blood is so amazing, but you have just started to refine your skin, and you are still strong after 2 consecutive battles. How come? I was born with supernatural power and thick skin. Wei Hong said casually. But this excuse made everyone around him believe it. Because apart from his special physique, it really can't explain why he is so fierce. Ordinary people will be exhausted after fighting for a cup of tea. Wei Hong fought twice and was still energetic. What else could this person be but a special physique? Haha. A cold-faced girl in red clothes and holding a whip said, I'm lucky to meet an interesting guy today. You look strong, so we should continue to practice together, right? Of course. Wei Hong narrowed his eyes and politely said, do you want to practice boxing or swords? Whip. The cold-faced girl raised her eyebrows and said, I have been practicing Kingain 13 whips since I was a child. Now I have the strength of the late stage of skin refining, and I can use 760 kilograms of force in one arm. But seeing that you have just practiced skin refining, I am too lazy to bully the weak. How about this? I will use half of my strength to practice with you. Of course. Wei Hong agreed casually. Whips are also considered swords, and using weapons will increase the price. The price doubles in a cup of tea, so how about the profit of 200 coins? Okay. The cold-faced girl shook the whip and whipped. The long whip in her hand was about 13 feet long, and no one knew what material it was made of. It was flexible and fierce when whipped, as if it could even crack rocks. Wei Hong had never fought against such an enemy before. He dodged with a monkey-like leap. The opponent's long whip seemed to have eyes. It kept whipping him from all directions, forcing him to be in a state of embarrassment for a while. Wei Hong even wanted to fight in close combat several times but couldn't do it. The cold-faced woman's whip skills were obviously taught by a famous teacher. She had already achieved the state of being able to control it freely, and easily blocked his close-range moves. An accidental long whip hit his shoulder hard. With a snap sound, the clothes broke, and Wei Hong's shoulder seemed to be hit hard by an iron rod. His shoulder blade was almost broken, and his shoulder was torn and flesh was torn. Hiss. Everyone gasped. Wei Hong turned a blind eye to this. He found that there was a huge gap between his strength and that of the cold-faced woman, and the difference in actual combat experience was also very huge, so he simply changed his tactics and wandered around, while dodging the attacks with monkey steps and crane steps. At the same time, he looked for opportunities to resist the whip and charge forward. Several times he almost rushed to the cold-faced woman, forcing her to retreat again and again. Invisibly, her whip skills also improved a lot. A cup of tea passed in a blink of an eye. After a battle, the cold-faced woman was also exhausted and panting. Although Wei Hong had more than a dozen blood marks on his body, he was still energetic and refreshed. This gap made people dumbfounded. Good, good, good. Seeing this, the cold-faced woman was not only not annoyed, but also showed a rare smile. Really a freak. I just practiced to my heart's content, Zio Kui. Please watch and appreciate it. Yes, miss. A maid hurriedly came from under the eaves. She casually took out a piece of silver from her purse and threw it into Wei Hong's hand. It was roughly estimated that there was half a tael of silver. Take it. The maid said proudly, my lady is happy to practice, and these few silver taels are a reward for you, and also as compensation for ruining your clothes. Thank you. Wei Hong didn't feel humiliated. He accepted the silver taels calmly, which made everyone look up to him. Such a person who is neither humble nor arrogant, although he is born in a humble family, is not necessarily unable to leap into the Dragon Gate. This demeanor is not inferior to many children of aristocratic families. Boy, do you still have strength? How about trying my 8-armed divine fist? Get out of here, it's not your turn. I'll go first. Haha, I'll go first, all of you go to the back. The young men and women in gorgeous clothes were delighted to see the prey. One by one, they wanted to practice with Wei Hong, and obviously saw that he was different from ordinary sparring partners. After all, Lu Ming and the cold-faced woman benefited a lot. For people like them, a little money can make you improve. It is definitely a very cost-effective thing. Everyone. Wei Hong took a deep breath, his eyes sparkling, and said, I have a special physique and abundant strength. I am not afraid of fighting 10 times, so you don't have to fight for it. Those who are interested in sparring can wait patiently. 10 times? My god, how dare he? Fuck, what kind of physique is this? Is the strength endless? This man seems to be a butcher, it's normal for him to be stronger. Damn, is this man a freak? In this case, do we still have a way to survive? Everyone present was shocked. The children of the rich and powerful were naturally happy. It is good for them to have such a high-quality sparring partner in the martial arts hall. The civilian disciples looked miserable. After all, if Wei Hong is so greedy for business, how can they make money in the future? Chapter 30, Freak Fame is within reach. In just half a day, Wei Hong became famous in this Iron Fist martial arts school. From the iron-faced and selfless coach to the young men and women who had just become his apprentices, all heard that there was a freak in their martial arts school. The martial arts training ground was already surrounded by people. Everyone saw Wei Hong fight against the sons of the rich and powerful. No matter whether it was swords, guns, sticks, or fists and feet, no matter how hard he was hit, he was like an indestructible cockroach, countering the moves again and again. Those who fought against him were all very happy. Unconsciously, everyone had learned something. However, Wei Hong obviously gained the most. Although he was beaten black and blue and covered with the wounds, he looked extremely miserable. But his eyes gradually became sharper, and the 5-beast fist became more and more amazing. Not only did the proficiency of boxing soar by dozens of points, but even the progress of skin refining also increased a little. It can be seen that under the condition of high-intensity fighting and constant injuries, the membrane has also become stronger. In short, under the continuous nourishment of vitality, Wei Hong was like a tireless machine, constantly gaining various indescribable benefits. As for the benefits of sparring, they were just the most insignificant gains. Isn't this kid too exaggerated? If ordinary people fight with all their strength, they will be exhausted in a cup of tea. How come he doesn't seem to be afraid of being tired? This guy was born as a butcher. It's normal that he has more strength, but his endurance is too strong, isn't it? Damn it, this is the 13th time? If it goes on like this, how can we survive? Brother Zheng, you can't just ignore this. If this kid comes every day, I'm afraid we will starve to death. In the crowd, several young men wearing martial arts training clothes were unhappy and talked. Their eyes all looked at a young man with thick eyebrows. Why are you looking at me? The thick-browed young man snorted coldly. This kid is a madman at first glance. He will die in 3 to 5 days if he fights so recklessly. If he wants to make money, let him make it. I want to see how long he can hold on. That's right. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this. At first glance, Wei Hong was indeed miserable. His body was covered with horrible injuries. They all felt pain when they saw it, and suddenly they were not so jealous of him. This is what he deserves. If you don't accept it, you can do it too. These children of the rich and powerful don't hold back when they beat people. Didn't you see that he has knife wounds, whip wounds and so on? It would be strange if anyone else could survive. This kid is a bit weird, don't mess with him. The thick-browed young man said seriously. He fought 13 times, and received 97 punches, 67 kicks, 57 whip wounds, and 19 knife wounds. Many of the injuries were caused by him deliberately bumping into others. Isn't he working too hard to make money? So many. Good boy, you are really a lunatic. Don't mess with me, this kind of person is definitely cruel enough. Everyone was frightened again, and there was a trace of awe in their eyes. At this time, the battle in the field was also coming to an end. Wei Hong once again blocked the crazy attack of a warrior in the middle stage of the leather refining realm. Both sides gained a lot. Let's stop here today. Wei Hong pretended to be tired and arched his hands. Wei is not strong enough. I will come to practice again tomorrow. I hope you will forgive me. Tisk tisk tisk, 13 times, amazing. I thought this kid would not get tired, what a freak. Although his strength is a little worse, he is really resistant to beatings. No matter how you hide him, it's okay. He is just like a cow. Everyone dispersed while talking. Some people could not help but approach and try to recruit him. However, all of them were perfunctorily dismissed by Wei Hong. He was very satisfied with being a butcher. Being a sparring partner to make money was just a side job, but he had no intention of joining any power. Boy, not bad. Luo Jiaotao deliberately came over and patted his shoulder, and Wei Hong grimaced in pain. Why? You still feel pain? Luo Jiaotao said unhappily. You kid, don't you want to die in our martial arts hall? I have never seen such a fierce sparring partner in my life. Aren't you afraid of sudden death due to accumulated hidden injuries? No. Wei Hong grinned. Thank you for worrying about me. I'm not worried about you. Luo Jiaotao curled his lips and sighed. But you kid, no matter how short of money you are, you can't play like this. You can withstand hidden injuries when you are young and strong, but when you are older, you may shorten your life. Don't disobey my advice. Well, I know my limits. Wei Hong perfunctorily again. Luo Jiaotao glared and snorted coldly. You kid won't listen to advice, right? Well, I'll tell you straight, you can only play 5 games every day from now on. Why? Because other people have to make money too. Luo Jiaotao said helplessly. There are still many civilian children in this hall who rely on sparring to earn training resources. You can't let them starve to death, right? I see. Wei Hong nodded in understanding. It was indeed a bit too much for him to play more than 10 games a day. This would probably ruin many people's jobs. If the limit is controlled to 5 games a day, it would be reasonable for both him and others. After all, he only has half a day free every day, and most of the rest of the time he has to kill pigs in the butcher shop. How about this? Luo Jiaotao said with a little embarrassment. If you think this action blocks your way to wealth, I can decide to increase your sparring price to 200 coins per game. No need. Wei Hong waved his hand indifferently and said, no need to be special, I will pay the same price as others. You kid are interesting. Luo Jiaotao laughed dumbly. Wei Hong secretly calculated in his heart. The minimum income for 5 games a day is 500 coins, and the maximum income is 1 tael of silver. At the same time, most of the sponsors will give tips when they are in a good mood, ranging from 50 to 100 coins, and as many as 200 or 300 coins. In this way, his daily income is still good. For example, he played 13 games today, and the first game with Luming was free. Among the other 12 games, 7 games were boxing and kicking, and the remaining 5 games were sword fighting. The basic fee for the 2 added up is as high as 1 tael and 7 coins. In addition, including the tips, he now has 3 taels and 2 coins in his pocket. So much? Wei Hong didn't know until he calculated it. He was shocked when he calculated it. He actually earned 1 or 2 months' wages for ordinary people in half a day. No wonder people are so keen on practicing martial arts. Money is probably something that can be easily obtained by the strong. However, if Wei Hong didn't have a golden finger, he wouldn't dare to make money so crazily. If others want to copy this success, they will probably die suddenly. Master Luo. Wei Hong put away the money bag, looked up and asked with a smile, since I just promised you, I wonder if you can help me solve some of my doubts. What do you want to ask? Nothing. Wei Hong asked with a wry smile, I have just started to refine my skin. I just want to know when I can know whether I have broken through to the middle stage of the skin refining realm. That's easy. Master Luo replied impatiently, when you have changed your skin all over, you will have broken through to the middle stage. Please read more. Chapter 31, Whole Body Skin Change, Limit of Strength. Replacing the whole body skin. Wei Hong seemed a little confused. as a butcher who had not received systematic martial arts inheritance. His biggest disadvantage was that his basic knowledge was weak, and he had to ask others for many things. For example, he didn't understand it now. What is the connection between breaking through from the early stage of the skin refining realm to the middle stage, a small realm breakthrough, and renewing the skin of the whole body? Does it mean that you have to rub the skin manually after practicing for a certain period of time? You don't even know this. Seeing this, Luo Jiaotao was a little amused. When you practice to a certain level, the membrane will naturally transform. At that time, you will shed the old skin like a snake, and the new skin will become stronger. People who have just refined their skin can be called the early stage of skin refining. Shedding once will become the middle stage, shedding twice will be the late stage, and shedding 3 times will be perfect. After the transformation, the membrane will be more round and free, and the blood and qi that can be supported will be more majestic. In short, you will realize it yourself sooner or later, so there is no need to worry too much. Wei Hong nodded, not quite understanding. He thought that if he had time, he would have to go to the Tiger Head Gang's transmission hall to read some books. Anyway, reading some basic books is free, and it would be good for him to brush up on his common sense. The idea of shedding skin is not bad. After all, who wants to live with scars? Once you break through a small realm, you can shed your old skin and put on a new one. Isn't it wonderful? In addition, is there a limit to the strength between each small realm? Wei Hong once again raised a question in his mind. Of course there are. Luo rolled his eyes and snorted, except for freaks like you who are born with supernatural powers, the limit of ordinary people in the early stage of skin refining is 300 kilograms of strength, the middle stage is 600 kilograms, the late stage is 900 kilograms, and the limit of perfect skin refining is about 1,200 kilograms. But this limit is only for ordinary people. It is different for the children of the rich and powerful who practice top-notch techniques. They have been nourishing their bodies with precious medicine since childhood, and the upper limit is beyond the reach of ordinary people. You kid is so good at the 5-beast fist, but you have such shallow knowledge of martial arts. You are really a weirdo. Go back and heal your wounds if you are fine. Don't die in our martial arts hall because of internal injuries. Wei Hong couldn't help but look weird when he heard it. The limit of ordinary people's perfect skin refining is only 1,200 kilograms of strength. But he has just started to refine his skin and has reached more than 500 kilograms. If he breaks through to the perfect skin refining, how much strength can he reach? It's really exciting to think about it. Thank you for clearing up my doubts. Wei will take his leave. Wei Hong smiled and bowed, then turned and left a martial arts hall. People passing by on the street couldn't help but stop and watch when they saw him in such a miserable state. After seeing that he was coming out of the martial arts hall, they all looked as if they understood. Wei Hong turned a deaf ear to this. He silently used the 13 tiger movement standing practice breathing method. He mobilized the qi and blood to continuously flush the blood stasis under the skin. With the addition of vitality and the nourishment of qi and blood, various wounds stopped bleeding and scabbed, and the black blood accumulated under the skin was also washed away, and waves of numbness and unbearable numbness came from all over. A sense of transparency came naturally. The progress of skin refining on the attribute board actually increased by 1 point. Wow, I actually increased my progress by 2 points before and after being beaten, which is comparable to the merits of my 2 days of practice. It seems that being beaten is much faster than practicing by myself. At this rate, I can break through to the middle stage of skin refining in less than a month. Thinking this through, he was in a good mood again. I just felt that the road ahead was vast and full of hope. Unconsciously, he just walked to the Xingho Pavilion. Wei Hong thought about it and walked in. He happened to see the shopkeeper Lin Wisheng counting the bills at the counter, so he politely greeted him. Uncle Lin. Huh? What's wrong with you? Lin Wisheng couldn't help frowning when he looked up. He was obviously frightened by Wei Hong's miserable appearance. People who didn't know him would think that he was beaten up. I was a sparring partner in the martial arts hall and suffered some skin injuries. Wei Hong explained with a smile. The bruises and swelling on his face had recovered as before under the flushing of qi and blood, so it was not too ugly. Lin Wisheng was slightly stunned and didn't say anything more. He knew that Wei Hong had a stubborn personality and knew how to do things, so it was not easy for him, an outsider, to say anything. Look at this world, who doesn't have a hard life, so he can only be silent and regretful. Brother Hong, what are you doing here today? Are you selling fish? Lin Wisheng asked, "If you have any fish, just send it to the kitchen. I will ask the accountant to settle the bill for you." "No." Wei Hong smiled and said, "It's been very cold in winter recently. There are many refugees in the city and the public security is poor. I want to rent a house and move in." "I thought it was something else." "It's easy to say." Lin Wisheng said straightforwardly, "The small courtyard I told you about that day has not been rented out yet. You two grandpa and grandson can move in first. It doesn't matter whether it's money or not. Just think of it as showing me a house." "No, no, no." Wei Hong quickly put the purse on the counter and said, "Uncle Lin, you misunderstood. I have money to rent a house." "Oh." Lin Wisheng took the purse and took a look, and couldn't help showing surprise. As the shopkeeper in this restaurant, he has a good eye. He doesn't need to count to know that there are at least 3 taels of silver here. Did Wei Hong make all this money by practicing with others in the martial arts hall? Have you succeeded in martial arts? Lin Wisheng couldn't help asking. "I guess so." Wei Hong lied deliberately and ambiguously. "I didn't have enough food to eat before, and I didn't know that I was born with supernatural powers. I learned martial arts in the butcher shop and then I came to prominence. Life should be better in the future." "Okay, okay." Lin Wisheng sighed with satisfaction. "You are so motivated, your grandfather can also enjoy his old age. I have nothing to do anyway, I will take you to see the yard." "Thank you, Uncle Lin. Why should we be polite?" As the two talked, they walked out one after the other. The small yard is located in an alley on the left side of Anil Street. It is not far from the butcher shop and the slums, which is very convenient for moving or going to work in the future. The alley is clean and tidy, and the ground is paved with bluestone slabs. There are 17 or 18 families on both sides. There are cozy small courtyards with 5 or 6 people, and there are also large courtyards rented by 4 or 5 families. From time to time, there are gossips and the smell of food. Occasionally, there are children chasing and playing in the alleys. There are no refugees everywhere. The environment is more than 100 times better than the slums. People who can live here. Most of them have a decent job. Either teachers, accountants, or people with special skills. With these people gathered together, the public security will not be too bad. As for the small courtyard mentioned by Lin Wisheng, it is unexpectedly large. Pushing open a vermilion door, you can see a rectangular patio. On the left side of the patio is a well, which is convenient for daily washing. On the right side is a flower garden and several stone tables and stone benches, where you can drink tea and chat. Opposite the gate are 3 blue brick main houses. There are 2 side rooms on each side, 2 of which are used as warehouses, and the other 2 are used as toilets and kitchens. Wei Hong was shocked and speechless for a long time. Is this a small courtyard? How is it small? A courtyard of this size and location normally costs at least 300 to 400 yuan a month to rent, and few families dare to rent it alone. Take the courtyard next door, which is about the same size, for example. They are basically shared by 2 or 3 families, living together in the form of a quadrangle, and even the toilet and kitchen have to be shared. Will Wei Hong and his grandson live in such a large courtyard in the future? He was used to being poor, and he felt it was ridiculous for a while, and even felt it was a bit wasteful. Chapter 32, Do good deeds and you will be rewarded. What? Do you think my yard is not good enough? Lin Wisheng saw Wei Hong's embarrassment and deliberately laughed and joked. Of course not. Wei Hong laughed awkwardly. I just didn't expect that Uncle Lin's yard is so big. If it was a small yard, it would be just right for us grandpa and grandson to live in. This big yard is really no problem. Lin Wisheng waved his hand indifferently and said, just give me some rent. Besides, you are a martial artist. What if you don't have a bigger yard? There is a spare room and you can make a practice room. Besides, when you have a promising future, you must find some people to serve your grandfather. Where will the servants live? You can't just live in the slums, right? Wei Hong thought it made sense after hearing this. He was afraid of being poor, and his mindset had not changed. In the future, as his strength increases, it will definitely be easier to make money. What's wrong with living in a bigger yard and enjoying it? It will also make his grandfather live more comfortably. Okay. Wei Hong immediately decided, I'll rent this yard. Let's set the rent at 5 taels a month. I can't let you, Uncle Lin, suffer a loss. No need for so much, 2 taels will be fine. No, at least 4 taels and 5 cents. The two bargained back and forth. After some discussion, The final price was 3 taels a month. It's not that Wei Hong didn't want to pay a high price, but the other party refused to accept it. Brother Hong, don't underestimate your Uncle Lin. Lin Weisheng smiled and joked, now I manage the restaurant for the owner. The guests who come and go are all distinguished guests. The monthly dividends are not low. You two can stay here with peace of mind. Thank you, Uncle Lin. Wei Hong clasped his fists in gratitude, and everything was self-explanatory. Ahem. Night fell. Wei Hong took advantage of the night to return to his shack. From a distance, he could hear his grandfather's suppressed cough. Pushing open the leaky door, the light of the dim oil lamp spread out. The old man came over when he heard the noise. Brother Hong, why did you come back just now? A trace of shock and worry flashed across old Wei's face. What's wrong with you? It's nothing, I got some minor injuries when I was a sparring partner at the Iron Fist Martial Arts School. Wei Hong smiled indifferently, I have to train my skin anyway, so it's a good opportunity for someone to loosen up my muscles and bones. You. The old man's expression changed, and there was deep heartache in his eyes. But in the end, he said nothing, just silently serving him rice. Grandpa, don't worry. Wei Hong sat down and ate his rice, and advised in a deep voice, how can a man grow without going through hardships? Only those who endure hardships can become superior people. If you want to survive in this damn world, there will be many more places to suffer in the future. Alice. Old Wei sighed. There was both relief in his eyes. I heard you coughing just now, did you catch a cold? No problem. It's just an old illness. Eat more, I'll take you to see a doctor another day. Don't waste money, it's just a cold. The grandfather and grandson had a brief conversation. With a dim oil lamp, eating simple meals, Wei Hong felt inexplicably relieved. Taking advantage of the break in the meal, he briefly recounted what happened today and told him that he had rented the yard of Manager Lin. There are so many refugees recently and the public security is not good. In addition, the winter is unbearable. It's better for us to move away. Wei Hong patiently advised, I am now successful in martial arts. It is not a problem to earn 10 or 20 taels a month. We can barely afford to live in the yard rented by Uncle Lin at a low price. Don't think it's too expensive. I need a place to practice martial arts. Our shack is not even big enough to accommodate people. It's cold and drafty. We can't not move away. Quit your job as a night watchman in the future, and grow flowers and fish at home. The lives of our grandfather and grandson will get better and better. Okay. I listen to you. Old Wei smoked his pipe. For the first time, his face, which was full of ravines after half a lifetime of hard work, showed a ray of hope. Scholar Lin is a very particular person. Old Wei couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Even when he became rich, he still remembered the friendship of fellow townsmen and helped him a little. Grandpa, you have accumulated virtue and done good deeds throughout your life, so you deserve this blessing. Wei Hong's casual compliment immediately touched the old man's heart, causing him to twirl his beard and sneer. As the saying goes, good deeds will bring good results. Although the old man lived a poor life, Wei Hong was blessed by him. Whether it was being an apprentice in a butcher shop or being taken care of by Lin Weishen, it was all because of Old Wei's kindness to others, and it was also because of his face. Wei Hong just got some of the glory. It is his fortune to have such a grandfather. Although in the eyes of outsiders, Old Wei is just a stinky old man who beats the night watch and anyone can step on him, but Wei Hong is still proud of him. After a long time, he stammered, will it not cost too much to hold a housewarming party? Our family has just bought some supplies for the winter, and we don't have anything to entertain everyone. You don't have to worry about the money, Wei Hong comforted her casually. Now I work as a sparring partner in the martial arts gym every day, and I can earn at least 1 or 2 taels of silver. Do you know how much I earned today? A full 3 taels and 2 cents, so I can afford to rent Uncle Lin's yard. So much? Old Wei was shocked for a long time before he murmured with tears in his eyes, you've made it, Brother Hong has made it. So? Wei Hong smiled and assured, we won't have to go hungry in the future, and we can afford to treat our neighbors to a big meal, even if we are in a hurry. Let's do it. Old Wei slapped the table and said happily, everyone has been short of money these years, and the new year is coming soon. Let's invite all the neighbors to join us and have a good meal together. Okay. Wei Hong nodded in agreement. He was very happy to spend a little money to make his grandfather happy. In the dim shack, The grandfather and grandson chatted about the details of the banquet with great interest. They felt that all the suffering seemed to have disappeared, and every minute and every second of the future was full of expectations. Chapter 33, Easy to come by, Unequal Cooperation. Moving was not difficult. After all, Wei Hong and his grandson had very few belongings. On the second day, they borrowed a wheelbarrow and moved everything to the new home in 2 or 3 trips. After a simple cleaning, they bought some pots and pans. The two of them officially settled down in their new home. The small courtyard was clean and tidy. Not only did it have a toilet, a kitchen, and a well, but the rooms were also spacious and comfortable. It was a million times better than the slum shacks that leaked, and made old Wei say that it was like a dream. The 3-day holiday was over. Wei Hong ran to the butcher shop to work without stopping, fearing that he would kill a few less pigs. Now that his reputation in the Iron Fist martial arts school had spread, as soon as he stepped into the butcher shop, he was greeted with incredible looks from Li Daniu and others. Obviously, everyone couldn't understand why he had just refined his skin. He could become a Class C sparring partner in the martial arts school, and he was quite popular. "Brother Hong, I heard that you went to the martial arts hall and fought 13 rounds before you were exhausted." Li Daniu couldn't help asking first, "My goodness, did you take the wrong medicine? It's just a special physique." Wei Hong used this excuse again. Everyone envied, jealous and hated him, but they could do nothing about it. After all, physique is given by God. You can't envy it, you can only sigh helplessly. As for this little bit of limelight, Wei Hong didn't care. After all, with his strength now, there are not many people in the whole butcher shop who can suppress him. Even Wang Dazi and his people can only look at him with awe and fear. Anyone who is not a fool knows it. From now on, they and Wei Hong are people of different classes. On the surface, everyone is a butcher, but Wei Hong, a butcher with a promising future, is very different from them, and the gap will only get bigger in the future. One day, he will be someone everyone needs to look up to. "Okay, get to work." Wei Hong patted Li Daniu on the shoulder and whispered, "I'll kill the pigs myself later, and you can kill the sheep by yourself, is that okay?" Of course. Li Daniu looked strange. Normal people would rather work in pairs and slack off. But Wei Hong wanted to do more by himself, which was really strange. In addition, let's follow the old rules. Wei Hong continued to whisper, "I will do the butchering of your sheep, and as a reward, I will transfer 2 half-price skin refining secret medicines in my name to you every month." This? How can this be possible? Li Daniu was shocked and at a loss, and obviously did not expect him to say such a thing. "Brother Hong, are you crazy? Don't joke around." Li Daniu scratched his head and said, "It's just a small matter of killing sheep. Why do you have to give me 2 doses of skin refining secret medicine every month? I like to use a knife, and I am also happy to give back to those who have helped me." Wei Hong casually found an excuse and said with a smile, "Brother Daniu, you have helped me. Now that I have more money on hand, I always want to repay you. You should not refuse." "No, no." Li Daniu shook his head desperately, "You can kill sheep if you want, but 2 doses of skin refining secret medicine are too precious. I can't take advantage of you. It doesn't matter. I can earn it by being a sparring partner in the martial arts hall for 1 or 2 days. Just take it with peace of mind. You can help me when you become stronger in the future, right?" Wei Hong persuaded again, and Li Daniu finally agreed. The two reached a seemingly unequal but far-reaching agreement. From then on, the number of pigs and sheep that Wei Hong can kill every day will increase again. And he just paid 2 half-price skin refining secret medicine quotas. This thing was of no use to him, like a piece of chicken ribs. Anyway, he had made a lot of money. So under the strange gaze of the crowd, the two began to work in tacit cooperation. Li Daniu first ran to the sheepfold and tied up a sheep. Wei Hong bled it with a knife, and then he continued to hang the sheep and skin it. "What's going on? You have to cooperate to kill a sheep? Is this dog Li Daniu not weaned?" Everyone secretly despised him in their hearts. But no one dared to say anything in front of Wei Hong. He didn't care and walked into the dirty and smelly pigsty. He decisively chose the biggest fat pig and punched it in the back of the head. Bang! Before the powerful fat pig could react, it was knocked unconscious by a clever force. Then, under the stunned gaze of the crowd, Wei Hong grabbed the pig's leg and threw it on the chopping board. First time killing a pig? Even the first time killing a pig by himself. Wei Hong naturally disdained to learn other people's techniques, nor would he hug the dirty pig's body. His move cleverly solved the problem that it was difficult for one person to hold down a pig. At the same time, he stabbed the butcher knife into the fat pig's heart artery. Puff puff puff. Pig blood gushed out crazily. The unconscious fat pig woke up in severe pain, and just as he was about to struggle, he was knocked unconscious by his punch. Wei Hong's five-beast fist had already reached perfection. Using martial arts to deal with a beast was simply a waste of talent, but this method also deeply shocked everyone. The butchers present were all rough men. Usually, killing pigs is also a fight with strength. Where have you seen such a casual method? As the saying goes, an expert can tell whether it is good or not with just one move. Maybe when they heard that Wei Hong became famous in the Iron Fist martial arts school, they were more or less unconvinced, but now seeing his effortless pig-killing technique with their own eyes, even the dumbest people can see his ferocity. What a clever trick! This guy has learned a good boxing skill without knowing it. This seems to be the magic of the bear force in the five beasts fist, right? It can stun the pig without hurting the skin and flesh. Awesome. Damn it, Brother Wang, I'm afraid even you can't use this kind of clever trick. We may be stronger than him, but we are definitely inferior to him in boxing. This guy is not easy to mess with. Everyone was talking in a low voice. Wei Hong still turned a deaf ear to it. He held the butcher knife and patiently shaved the pig hair, as if he was carving a work of art. Every move was pleasing to the eye. Of course, his movements were also very fast. There was no dragging at all. After all, he was still hoping to kill a few more pigs to earn enough vitality to become stronger. Shave the hair, remove the internal organs, chop off the limbs, and divide the meat. He completed each step with an almost perfect knife technique, and even unconsciously incorporated some of the five beast fists power-generating methods, including the breathing method of 13 tiger movements, into it, making all his work natural and easy. Others need 2 people to kill a pig. However, Wei Hong cut a huge fat pig with one knife and easily cut it clean. Moreover, his technique was neat and perfect, enough to make any butcher amazed. Even Wang Dazi, the most experienced, did not dare to say that he could have such a knife technique. Recalling that he was still a hand-to-hand apprentice a few months ago, everyone couldn't help but sigh, and sighed that this boy was really a monster. Chapter 34, The bed is ready for you, and all grudges will be forgotten with a smile. Early morning, the butchers who had been busy all night finally had a chance to breathe. While the stalls were busy, the kitchen had already cooked steaming meat porridge, which, when paired with freshly baked steamed buns, made people drool. Wei Hong drank the porridge while silently calculating his income. After a lot of hard work, he killed 5 pigs, and they were the fattest ones, and he got 113 points of vitality. Li Daniu killed 6 sheep, but because it was Wei Hong who bled them, the vitality of these sheep was also counted on him, a total of 79 points. Adding the two together, a total of 192 points of vitality. Nearly 200 points of vitality in one day. Wei Hong couldn't help but be happy. This is enough for him to support 2 hours of skin refining, or directly add dozens of points of life value. The most important thing is that it is stable and lasting. As long as it is accumulated over the years. No matter what kind of skills he practices, no matter how poor his qualifications are, all of them will be able to become stronger by adding some points, and will be able to surpass countless peers quietly, until they stand at the top of this world. Just thinking about it makes people excited. Brother Hong, what are you thinking about? Li Daniu urged from the side. Eat quickly, you still have to work later. Yes. Wei Hong nodded. He couldn't help but speed up his eating. However, after eating a few bites, he looked up and looked around and said, Brothers, Wei has just moved to a new house recently. I want to hold a housewarming party in Xianbao Lane on the 23rd of this month. If you have time, please come and have a drink. Oh, Brother Wei is going to hold a housewarming party? This is a big happy event. Yes, we have to take time out for this kind of happy event. Don't worry, Brother Wei, we will definitely be there when the time comes. Everyone was surprised and smiled and agreed. This also made Li Daniu inexplicably think of the first day when Wei Hong came to the butcher shop. At that time, he talked to everyone but no one wanted to pay attention to him. Now the times have changed. When Wei Hong showed enough potential, he didn't need to curry favor with anyone, and the people around him would spontaneously flatter him. They would even be surprised by his bland invitation. I have to say, the reality is really ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous is that Wang Dazi also shamelessly came over, squeezed Lily Daniu away, and whispered with a smile, "Congratulations to brother Wei on moving to a new house. I wonder if I can also be shameless and ask for a glass of wine when the time comes." Of course. Wei Hong smiled calmly, "You are most welcome." "Okay, good." Wang Dazi's face suddenly opened with joy and his brows relaxed. What he called asking for a glass of wine was not just to drink wedding wine, he just wanted to test Wei Hong's attitude. If he still remembered the last grudge, then Wang Dazi would probably not be able to eat or sleep from now on. But now Wei Hong invited him calmly, with a carefree attitude of having a drink to relieve all worries. How could he not be ecstatic? After all, no one wants to be targeted by a warrior with unlimited potential. "Don't worry, brother Wei. Even if I have to tighten my belt, I will give you a generous gift. It can be regarded as an apology for the last conflict. From now on, you and I are close brothers, and we will never interfere with each other." Wang Dazi patted his chest and promised. "Okay, Wei will prepare a bed for you." Wei Hong smiled and agreed again, and the atmosphere between the two eased a little. In fact, he didn't remember any grudges against Wang Dazi, and even felt a little sorry. As the saying goes, killing is not enough. The grudges between men can be fought to the death, but it is wrong to harm their families. At that time, Wei Hong was too weak and could only save his life by means of villains. Now he still feels a little guilty when he thinks about it. Now that Wang Dazi is willing to take the initiative to seek peace, why should he hold on to the small grudges? Wei Hong has always been a free and easy person, and he can forget the grudges with a smile. Of course, if Wang Dazi still dares to be confused in the future, he doesn't mind resolving new and old grudges together. After all, he will become stronger every day and is not afraid of any potential enemies. After lunch, everyone started practicing martial arts as usual. But Wei Hong did not practice together. He went straight to the backyard to find Zhu Sihei. "What's the matter?" Zhu Sihei sat by the pavilion drinking tea and said happily, "Are you also going to invite me to the housewarming party?" "Of course." Wei Hong poured himself a cup of tea after sitting down, and said with a smile, "How dare I not invite Uncle Sihei to my nephew's housewarming party? You are my great benefactor." "Fuck great benefactor." Zhu Sihei was not drunk by this kind of magic potion, but he still had a smile on his lips, and his eyes looked closer. Wei Hong is now on his side. He is quick and hard-working, and his potential is unlimited. He is naturally happy to get close to such talents. "You must have something else to do, right?" Zhu Sihei put down his teacup and asked, "Don't dilly-dally, just say what you want to say." "I want to leave work early in the afternoon and go to the martial arts hall to be a sparring partner to make money." Wei Hong did not hesitate and stated his request openly. In fact, there was basically no work to do in the butcher shop in the afternoon. The meat was sold out, and most of the people who stayed were just practicing martial arts. His leaving early would not cause any trouble. As long as the big boss agreed, others would not dare to say anything. "I knew you were holding it in." Zhu Sihei waved his hand nonchalantly and said, "But you work quickly, so it's okay for you to leave early in the afternoon. You can make your own arrangements in the future." "Okay. Thank you, Uncle Sihei." Wei Hong promised cheerfully, "Anyway, I will never delay the work in the shop, don't worry." After that, he stood up and prepared to leave. Zhu Sihei hesitated for a moment, but could not help but remind him, "Keep a low profile recently and don't make trouble at will. If the second in command is looking for trouble with you, be patient and try not to have a conflict." Oh. Wei Hong was stunned when he heard this. What's going on? Zhu Sihei is still afraid of the second in command Tanfei? There is some turmoil inside the Tiger Head gang. Zhu Sihei sighed and said with a sad face, "The leader of the Loyalty Hall was seriously injured by a sneak attack by a master of the Blood Crow gang last night, and the deputy leader is ready to make a move." Wei Hong immediately understood what this meant. The leader of the Loyalty Hall is Zhu Sihei's backer, and the deputy leader is the backer of the second in command. The open and secret struggles between the backers behind the two can easily affect their status. No wonder Zhu Sihei looked worried at the moment. Obviously, this matter has caused him a lot of pressure. "Uncle Sihei, don't worry, I know my limits." Wei Hong was not panicked, nor did he regret standing on Zhu Sihei's side. He just smiled and turned away. He has always been a person who does not get involved in the turmoil outside if he can. Tanfei is a solitary person who doesn't like to talk. Wei Hong hasn't seen him many times in the past few months in the butcher shop, and the number of words he has spoken is less than 5 fingers. He shouldn't have offended him. Even if Tan Fei seizes power, he doesn't care. As long as it doesn't affect my slaughtering of pigs, it's none of my business no matter how chaotic it is. Wei Hong murmured in his heart. Please vote and read on. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35, Housewarming Party. When you are well fed and warm, you will think about sex. The 23rd day of the 12th lunar month, the New Year is coming, and it is the Kitchen God Festival. The whole city of God has become festive and decorated. Every household has pasted window decorations, and shops along the street have hung big red lanterns. The streets and alleys are full of people buying New Year's goods. Children are playing and fighting along the streets, and vendors are shouting hard. The lively and noisy atmosphere completely overshadows the anxiety brought by the refugees everywhere. Xianbao Lane, Wei's house is also very lively at this moment. Wei Hong is no longer the same as before. Who dares not give face to this housewarming party specially held? All kinds of guests kept coming in early in the morning, and 8 large tables were seated. Zhu Sihei, Lin Wuxian, Lu Shan and others have already come. Li Daniu and the butchers have also come. The rest of the guests are mostly neighbors in the slums, plus new neighbors after moving in. They all sent some gifts. From cakes and cloth to dried fish and rice, all kinds of gifts filled up half of the room. Although most of them were not worth much, they still made Old Wei very happy. The table was already full of dishes. Most of these dishes were ordered directly from Xingho Pavilion. The main dishes were a big pot of braised pork and braised fish that Wei Hong personally bought meat and cooked in the kitchen. He specially cooked the 2 dishes with thick oil and heavy sauce, which was delicious and fragrant. As soon as they were served, everyone was drooling. Wow, Brother Hong, your cooking skills are really good. It's a waste of talent if you don't become a chef. Yes, it's delicious, it's really delicious, and it's no worse than the chefs in the restaurant. Grandpa Wei, your grandson is really promising, you are blessed. Everyone complimented and joked while feasting. Old Wei was naturally flattered and flushed. Looking at Wei Hong who was toasting everywhere, his eyes were full of pride. Brother Hong, it's not cheap to hold a housewarming party, right? Li Daniu couldn't help but ask in a low voice. Not bad. Wei Hong smiled indifferently. The dishes ordered at Xingho Pavilion are all home-cooked dishes. Manager Lin only charged 8 cents per table, and 8 tables are 6 taels and 4 cents. The meat was bought at a low price in our butcher shop, and the fish was caught by myself. I just bought some seasonings and wine. The total cost should be within 10 taels. 10 taels. Li Daniu secretly smacked his lips. The once impoverished boy now doesn't care about 10 taels or 8 taels. The change is really shocking. Everyone, eat and drink well, there is enough wine today. Wei Hong continued to greet everyone, don't be offended if I'm not welcoming enough. What's wrong with you? We are lucky to have such a feast of fish and meat. Come on, let's take advantage of Brother Hong's housewarming party and don't go home until we are drunk. Everyone started to joke again, and the atmosphere gradually became warmer. Old Wei turned sideways at this time, and asked with a worried look on his face, why haven't you and Grandma Wang's family come yet? Did something happen? Oh. Wei Hong looked up and found that Grandma Wang's family hadn't come. He was too busy just now and didn't pay attention. Now he remembered it after being reminded. It shouldn't be the case. Maybe something delayed them. Wei Hong put down the wine glass and said, if you are worried, Grandpa, why don't I go and ask them? If the pace is fast, they can have a hot meal later. This. Old Wei was a little reluctant to let his grandson toss. But he was worried about the situation of Grandma Wang's family. In the end, he nodded and agreed, and reminded, hurry up, don't delay on the road, it's cold and the food will get cold easily. No problem. Wei Hong walked out neatly. Fortunately, this place is not far from the slums. It only takes half a cup of tea for him to walk. After walking along the winding alleys of the slums for a while, there was suddenly a noise in front of him, faintly mixed with crying and screaming. Wei Hong frowned, feeling something was wrong. When he walked to the door of Grandma Wang's house, he found that her door was open. The laughter of several men and the screams of Chunlin and Qiuju kept coming out, and the old and frail Grandma Wang had already fallen in a pool of blood. She was obviously pushed down and hid against the wall. At this moment, her face was covered with blood and she fainted. It was obvious that she was breathing in more than out. "Let me go, let me go. Don't touch me, sister, help me. Ha ha ha, the little girl is pretty fierce, I like it." The cry for help from Grandma Wang's granddaughter Chunlin Xiaoya came from the shack. The neighbors were either away or closed their doors and dared not meddle in other people's business. It was so quiet that even a dog could not be found. At this time, Wei Hong walked into the door with a frosty face. The tall figure blocked the sunlight at once. At the same time, it also woke up the three strong men who were about to attack Chunlin and Qiuju. They were skinny and ragged. There was a ruthlessness and cruelty on his face. He was a young and restless refugee. No wonder. Wei Hong suddenly realized. Although the slums were chaotic in the past, the neighbors knew each other. Even if there were little hooligans who wanted Chunlin and Qiuju, they were very sensible. At most, they would flirt with them, but they didn't dare to really do anything. In addition, Chunlin and Qiuju were not beautiful, but just had delicate looks. They were not well fed for many years and did not develop well. They were just two yellow-haired girls, so nothing happened in these years. But who would have thought that when Wei Hong's family held a housewarming party, Grandma Wang's family was harassed by refugees? These daring guys were full and warm and lustful. They were not satisfied with the days of being provided with porridge by the government. There were countless criminals. It was also the bad luck of Grandma Wang's family to encounter this. "Why don't you continue?" Wei Hong had no expression on his face, neither happy nor sad, but his eyes suddenly became a little cold. "Brother Wei, help." Chunlin and Qiuju begged for help in a panic. They huddled on the ground tightly, their clothes had been torn a lot. "Where did you come from, you bastard? Get out of here. If you don't want to die, get out of here, don't bother me having fun." The three strong men stood up with their eyes narrowed, their eyes full of threats and fierceness. At the same time, they had quietly grasped their weapons in their hands. The three of them grabbed a dagger, a short knife, and a wooden stick respectively. Their postures and movements were very standard. Obviously, they were all ruthless characters who had practiced boxing and kicking and dared to kill and set fire. "Haha, I underestimated you." Wei Hong moved his body and stepped over. "Damn it. Come on together." The three roared and attacked directly from three directions. The four of them quickly approached in this small space in an instant. The dagger and short knife stabbed Wei Hong's neck and abdomen, and the wooden stick hit his head directly. Wei Hong did not dodge or avoid, but raised his hand and grabbed it. His palm as big as a palm leaf fan directly grabbed the shoulders of the two strong men on the left and right. At the same time, three weapons stabbed into his body at the same time. Chapter 36, Killing, Beware of Arrogance, Impatience and Greed. Bang! Puff! Three weapons hit Wei Hong in an instant. But he remained calm as if he had not heard anything, but the owners of the weapons changed their expressions. The three strong men were shocked to find that they could not even pierce his skin. The wooden stick broke into two pieces when it hit Wei Hong's head, and the dagger and the short knife were stuck firmly as soon as they pierced the membrane. It was as if they had not pierced human skin, but a piece of cowhide. "You have practiced some boxing and kicking skills, and you dare to come out and act wild without even the strength of the leather refining realm? Who gave you the courage?" Wei Hong grabbed the shoulders of the two strong men on the left and right, and his palm as big as a palm fan suddenly exerted force. Coo! The weapons in the hands of the two fell to the ground. The body could not help but curl up, and the mouth let out a shrill scream. The two sisters Chunlin and Qiuju were so scared that they could not help but shrink to the corner of the wall. "Is that all you can do?" Wei Hong suddenly raised his hand and lifted them up high, and the next moment he smashed them to the ground viciously. Boom! A loud noise accompanied by bursts of bone-cracking sounds. A human-shaped pit was smashed directly into the ground. The surrounding soil cracked and dust flew. The two unlucky guys fainted on the spot before they could even scream. Not only were their bones broken, but they were also spitting blood crazily. The gap between the warriors in the refining skin realm and ordinary people is too big. It was as easy for Wei Hong to crush them to death as to crush ants. Even if they had practiced some simple boxing and kicking skills, everything was in vain in the face of absolute strength. "You, don't come over. Brother, it's a misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Please let us go, we'll get out right away, right now." The surviving strong men wailed in fear. He subconsciously grabbed Chunlin and put the dagger against her neck. He hoped to use this hostage to save his own life. Sister. Kyuju screamed anxiously, Brother Wei, please save my sister. Brother Wei, save me. Chunlin was also frightened and her face turned pale. Let us go. The strong man yelled incoherently, otherwise I will kill her, hurry up. For a moment, the shack was noisy and chaotic. Wei Hong just picked his ears expressionlessly. Not only did he turn a blind eye to the crisis, but he walked towards the strong man calmly. A few outsiders just came to Chengdu and dared to commit crimes in a place where they were unfamiliar with. You really have no brains. Wei Hong sneered jokingly, what? You don't think you can still leave alive? Don't come over, don't come over. The strong man was frightened and wailed, brother, we just want to have fun, let us go, even if you report to the police, killing is illegal. Illegal. Wei Hong showed a strange smile. The next moment, he raised his hand and grabbed it like lightning. Before the strong man could react, he saw that his hand holding the knife had been grabbed, and no matter how he struggled, he didn't move at all. No, don't. Ah. The sturdy man's eyes widened in horror, and then he screamed miserably. Because Wei Hong pulled and bent, and easily rescued Chunlin, and at the same time broke his hand into two pieces. The bones pierced through the flesh and were exposed to the air. A large amount of blood spurted and splashed, frightening Chunlin and Kyuju to the point of almost fainting. Garbage should stay in the garbage dump. Do you deserve to live? Wei Hong was too lazy to talk nonsense, and punched him in the neck. With a muffled bang, all the bones in the sturdy man's neck and chin were shattered into slag, and the flesh was also shaken into meat paste by the punch. He spurted out large mouthfuls of blood, and his eyes instantly dimmed. Ling. Vitality plus 184, a ball of shining white light flashed by. Wei Hong immediately saw the shocking number in the system prompt. So many. He was secretly surprised. Killing a pig will give you about 18 to 20 points of vitality, and killing a sheep will give you 12 to 14 points, but how come killing an ordinary person will give you more than 100 points? Logically speaking, a person's blood and ki are definitely not as good as a pig's. But the vitality extracted from him is far more than 10 times that of a pig. Could it be that this vitality also involves the existence of the soul? When Wei Hong was puzzled, he kicked the other two people to death. Ling. Vitality plus 191, Ling. Vitality plus 188, two prompts flashed in a row. Wei Hong reaffirmed his judgment again. Although he didn't know the mechanism of the system's plundering of vitality, no matter how stupid he was, he knew that killing people was better than killing pigs, so much so that he couldn't help but want to find a few more bastards to kill. Now there are many refugees in the capital of God, and there must be many criminals among them. If I am willing to find them, I will definitely kill a lot of them. Even if I let go of moral constraints, with my strength, I can slaughter people at will outside the city and madly improve my strength. Wait. Wei Hong suddenly took a breath of cold air. Why did he have such a terrible idea in his heart? Although years of killing pigs made him not care much about human life, and killing people was like slaughtering pigs and dogs, this idea was too crazy. He didn't want to become a madman who regarded human life as worthless and killed people everywhere to improve his strength. Examine myself 3 times a day, beware of arrogance, impatience and greed, I am obsessed with appearance. The golden finger is just a tool, never let the tool affect your Tao heart, and never let the tool control yourself. Those who kill will be killed by others, never underestimate the world. Wei Hong took a deep breath and silently calmed his murderous intent. He didn't want to be like the 3 unlucky guys on the ground, committing crimes everywhere and finally accidentally hitting the iron plate, and finally ending up dead. Think about it, it's safer to kill pigs. Although the speed of earning life is a bit slower, it's safer. It's better to continue to live, unless you have to, otherwise don't kill people. Wei Hong sighed and silently warned himself. He found that he had no feelings about killing people, and the 3 corpses on the ground did not stir up any ripples in his heart. This was not a good thing. Wei, brother Wei. Chunlin raised her head in panic, revealing her withered and skinny face, and said in horror, what should we do now? You killed someone. It's just murder, don't worry too much. Wei Hong comforted casually, 10 or 8 people die in the slums every day. Just find an alley and throw them. The government is too lazy to investigate such a trivial matter. The Yamen will help collect the corpses. You just pretend that nothing happened. Chunlin and Kyuju looked at each other, still somewhat worried in their hearts. Wei Hong was too lazy to say anything more, just changed the subject and said, "Your grandma should have fainted, help her up and have a look, I'll go deal with the body first." After that, he turned around and walked out the door with a corpse in one hand. Chunlin and Kyuju didn't react until then, and they threw themselves on Grandma Wang and cried. Please vote and read more. Chapter 37, Terrified and Worried. Grandma, are you okay? Wake up, Grandma. The two girls, Chunlin and Kyuju, had never seen such a scene before, and they could only cry in panic. Wei Hong came back after dealing with all the bodies. He found that they had not yet helped Grandma Wang into the house, and he was speechless. He could only carry her into the house first, and then fetched water to clean the wound. After a lot of trouble, Grandma Wang finally woke up slowly. Grandma, you finally woke up. Chunlin and Kyuju were excited and cried. You guys. When Grandma Wang saw Wei Hong with her cloudy eyes, she immediately knew what happened in her heart. She whispered, Brother Hong, thank goodness for you. This time it was just an unexpected disaster. Wei Hong comforted her casually. I have dealt with the three thugs. You are fine, Grandma Wang. You have some head injuries. We should go to the clinic as soon as possible to bandage it. No. Grandma Wang seemed a little embarrassed. It was obvious that she was short of money and couldn't bear to go to the clinic. When Wei Hong was about to persuade her, she immediately widened her eyes and said, Brother Hong, you killed them. Where are the bodies? Thrown them in the alley. Wei Hong smiled indifferently. The government will have special people to collect them. In order to prevent the outbreak of epidemics in the city, once the bodies are found, they will immediately have people drag them away and throw them into the mass grave, or burn them in the stove. They are too lazy to file a case and investigate. No. Grandma Wang obviously knew all this. She said with a panic on her face, I have seen these thieves in the shanty towns outside the city. They are probably from other villages. If their fellow villagers come to find them. Wei Hong heard her words and understood her worries. The three thieves who committed crimes are probably relatives and neighbors from the same village. In this day and age, the concept of blood relationship is strong, and refugees are more likely to keep each other warm. Once the bodies of the three of them were found dumped in the slums, there would probably be a commotion. Today, there was such a big commotion at Grandma Wang's house, and anyone who was interested could find them. Old people are still the best. Wei Hong couldn't help but sigh secretly. Grandma Wang, a woman, saw through his carelessness in her days. It must be said that people who live long are really smart. There are many abandoned courtyards of wealthy families in the city. Wei Hong thought for a while and said, I will go again after nightfall, find a courtyard to dig a pit and bury it. No one will know about it for 3 to 5 years. Even if the bodies are found a few years later, no one will be able to find them. These refugees will definitely be sent away in the spring, and outsiders can't make any big waves. Okay. Grandma Wang was relieved. She knew that this arrangement was the best. Fortunately, Wei Hong was there, otherwise it would be a problem to kill people and bury the bodies. The women and children couldn't move the bodies. Thanks to you. Grandma Wang showed gratitude. Chunlin Kyuju, why don't you kowtow to your elder brother Wei? The two little girls knelt down and wanted to kowtow. Seeing this, Wei Hong hurriedly supported them and said with a smile, no need to do so. Not to mention that neighbors should help each other. You, Grandma Wang, have helped our family a lot in the past few years. I have always remembered this kindness. You are honest. Grandma Wang had a complicated expression. In this slum where all kinds of people are mixed, how many people can still maintain some human touch? Wei Hong's affectionate and righteous character is indeed precious. Let's not talk about this. Wei Hong said with concern, you still have to go to the clinic to treat your injuries. In addition, someone just died in this shack and I'm afraid it can't be lived in. Besides, the slums are becoming more and more unsafe. You should move to Xianbao Lane to live with us, grandfather and grandson. How can this be possible? Grandma Wang smiled bitterly and waved her hand to refuse. I have received your great favor today, how dare I ask for too much? Besides, our family can't afford to rent a yard in Xianbao Lane. No need to pay rent. Wei Hong explained, this yard was originally rented to me by Uncle Lin at a low price. It just so happens that the yard is too big, with 3 main rooms and 4 side rooms. My grandfather is used to living in poverty. Now he is a little overwhelmed to live in such a big yard every day. It's just right for your family of 3 to live there together. Not only will it be lively with more people, but they can also help me wash clothes and cook meals on weekdays. What do you think? Grandma Wang's face was moved. She knew that Wei Hong was deliberately taking care of her self-esteem. Originally, she shouldn't have agreed, but seeing Chunlin and Qiuju's pitiful and frightened appearance, Grandma Wang finally sighed and agreed, okay. I, an old woman, will be your nanny, Honger. From now on, all the housework will be done by us, and you can just treat Chunlin and Qiuju as little maids. Okay. Wei Hong didn't say anything more. He knew that poor people also have their own character. Grandma Wang didn't want to live on the pity of others. Using labor to exchange for a place to live was the best way she could think of. Xiaolin and Xiaju, you guys feed Grandma Wang some water first, and then clean up the house. Wei Hong stood up and ordered, I'll go find a wheelbarrow right away, and we'll take your grandma to the clinic later and move by the way. Okay, thank you, Brother Wei. Brother Wei, don't worry, we'll clean up right away. The two girls agreed obediently, and the panic in their eyes gradually dissipated. Wei Hong gave them enough sense of security. He also had to pull them out of the quagmire. He could imagine that his life would be much better in the future, which naturally made the two little girls look happy and expectant. Next, Wei Hong began to deal with the aftermath. He first went to the butcher shop to borrow a wheelbarrow, and sent Grandma Wang directly to the clinic for treatment, and then moved the few belongings of their family to his own home. Then he returned to the shack alone and cleaned up the blood inside and out. After nightfall, he took the body thrown in the alley directly to an abandoned house of a wealthy family. Wei Hong grew up in Anlafang since he was a child, so he naturally knew the situation of every household. This courtyard is the outer house of the Jiangnan salt merchants. They only come to Chengdu to escape the summer heat every year. On weekdays, there is only an old servant to guard and clean. Recently, this old servant has been unwell and often stays in bed. He would not come out to patrol at night, and no one would know that he would be so bold as to sneak into the courtyard with 3 ins and outs and dig a pit directly in the garden. Just stay here and be fertilizer for the flowers. Wei Hong glanced at the 3 corpses at the bottom of the pit, and suddenly a strange thought popped up in his mind. They won't become weird, right? But Wei Hong thought about it and forced this idea to be erased. How can weirdness be formed so easily? In recent years, people have died everywhere due to natural disasters and man-made disasters. Although the number of weirdness has skyrocketed, it has not reached the point of a disaster. Besides, this is the capital of gods. If it really becomes weird, there will be the evil suppression department to deal with it. Why should he be so scared and worry about nothing all day long? I can kill you when I'm alive. If I have the chance to become a weird after I die, just come and find me. I will kill you as usual. Wei Hong snorted coldly and quickly buried himself and left. Chapter 38, Grateful but in an awkward position. At night, Xianbao Lane, Wei's residence. The hustle and bustle of the day has dissipated. After the guests left, the tables, chairs and benches have been tidied up, leaving only firecrackers and red paper on the ground to show the joy of the housewarming party. In the side room on the right side of the yard, Chunlin Qiuju is busy cleaning up, while Grandma Wang is lying on the bed to rest sickly. Sister Wang, are you feeling better? Old Wei brought in a pot of chicken soup carefully and said with concern, you have to take good care of your injury. Drink some chicken soup first. Xiaolin and Xiaju, stop working. You haven't had dinner yet. There are some leftovers in the kitchen. Don't be disgusted. Brother Wei, how can I trouble you? Seeing this, Grandma Wang struggled to get up. She said hurriedly, Xiaolin and Xiaju, hurry up, don't let your grandfather Wei get tired. We are here to be maids. Sister Wang, what are you talking about? Old Wei said angrily, we are all ordinary people. There is no such thing as being a maid or not. You should treat this place as your own home in the future. No, you two are kind-hearted and we cannot be ungrateful. Grandma Wang was firm in his attitude, and Old Wei couldn't help but sigh silently. He had known what happened in the Wang family during the day. After sending away the guests, Grandma Wang and her family moved in. Wei Hong originally planned to let them live in the main room. But Grandma Wang insisted on living in the side room, so now the 3 of them occupied 2 side rooms. Wei Hong and Grandpa each lived in a main room, and the other main room was converted into a practice room. In this way, the house became much more lively. Anyway, you just live here with peace of mind. Old Wei sighed silently, as long as we 2 grandfathers have something to eat, you will never starve. Look at what you said, we are not useless. Grandma Wang said with a smile, when I get better, I will continue to take on the job of washing clothes. I can also earn a lot of money by taking private work in the embroidery room every month. My 2 granddaughters are also sensible. Now we don't have to live in fear like before. We should thank God. Yes, Grandpa Wei, if you have anything in the future, just tell us to do it. Qiuju raised her little face and said crisply, Grandma said, we are Brother Wei's maids. Nonsense, don't think so. Old Wei pretended to scold, your Brother Wei will not really treat you as maids. The most important thing is to live your own life well. I know, Grandpa Wei. Chunlin stuck out her tongue and said playfully, we all remember the kindness between you and Brother Wei. When I work in the embroidery room as a maid in the future, I will definitely respect you well. Okay, haha. Old Wei laughed with relief, Wang's sister, it's getting late, you should rest first. After he left the room, Grandma Wang couldn't help but sighed, fortunately, your grandfather Wei and elder brother Wei are kind, otherwise the 3 of us grandparents and grandchildren really couldn't survive. Xiaolin and Xiaju, you must remember this great kindness. Grandma, don't worry, we all remember it. The 2 little girls promised solemnly. Turning around, Qiuju stared blankly at the sweaty shadow of Wei Hong in the practice room. I don't know what he was thinking, his eyes were very complicated. What are you thinking about? Chunlin teased, are you attracted to Brother Wei? No. Qiuju's pretty face flushed red, and she hurriedly explained, I was just wondering if women can practice martial arts like Brother Wei. If we can practice martial arts, we may be able to protect ourselves. Practicing martial arts? Women are born weak and vulnerable. If you don't have family support, you'd better forget it. Chunlin sighed dejectedly. But I see that many martial arts schools have female disciples. Qiuju retorted unconvinced. You are so silly. Chunlin tapped her forehead and said with a wry smile, which of the female disciples in the martial arts hall is not from a wealthy family? They have been taking care of their bodies since childhood. You and I can't even get enough food, how dare we compare with them? You'd better think about finding a man to marry. This is our fate in this life. Finding a good husband is the real thing. In my opinion, Brother Wei is not bad. If you like him, you can ask Grandpa Wei to talk to him. In a few years, I will let you marry him and take care of the family. I will never let you starve. Qiuju blushed on the spot. She stammered for a long time before whispering, I'm not worthy of him. Why not? Chunlin put her hands on her waist and snorted coldly, you work hard to be an embroidery maid, and he's a butcher. Aren't they just a perfect match? But I'm not good looking. Qiuju blushed and muttered, sister, you're almost the same. I don't want to. Chunlin retorted in a low voice, I still like more elegant. In the practice room, Wei Hong, who was sweating profusely while practicing the 5 Beasts Fist, was somewhat speechless. He did not intend to eavesdrop on the conversation between the 2 little girls, but after practicing martial arts, his hearing ability increased greatly, and he could hear the buzzing of mosquitoes 10 feet away, so he could hear their sisters' whispers clearly. Being despised again. Good fellow, the identity of a butcher really affects marriage. Wei Hong shook his head with a dumb laugh. Zhu Furin despised him, and so did the little girl Chunlin. The social status of a butcher is quite embarrassing. His income is not as good as that of the rich, but better than that of the poor. Unfortunately, he is dirty and smelly, and he goes out early and comes back late. In the eyes of the world, most people think he is a big and strong man, so it is normal that he is not liked by women. Fortunately, Wei Hong has a strong psychological quality and does not care about these things at all. At the same time, he is also very indifferent to the love between men and women. Love has never been his pursuit, and getting married and having children has not yet been included in his life plan, so he is not angry at all for Chunlin's despise. Now he has only one idea, to become stronger. Keep going. After Wei Hong finished the 5 Beasts Fist, he started practicing the 13 Tiger Styles. He fell to the ground with a shake of his hands, shaking his body like a tiger. Roar, roar, roar. He kept making a subtle roar from his throat. This roar was somewhat similar to the legendary tiger roar and thunder sound, which could only be performed by those who had mastered the zhuanggong. It vibrated at a high frequency and combined with the shaking of the body, constantly stretching and tempering the blood and qi of the whole body. After a while, he was sweating again. Millions of pores seemed to have opened, and all kinds of sweat mixed with impurities flowed out, and the ground was soon wet. After practicing the 13 styles, Wei Hong's bones made a crackling sound. Every inch of muscle was shaking as if it had come alive, and the blood and qi in the body made a rumbling sound of rushing. With a sudden effort, the whole person suddenly swelled 3 inches high. The muscles in his arms and thighs also became sturdy and terrifying. Hu. 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 Wei Hong breathed in and out deeply. The air around him seemed to be scorching hot. At this moment, he had the urge to smash everything. This powerful feeling also made him intoxicated and unable to extricate himself. Chapter 39, Perfect State, Unexpected Events. Host, Wei Hong, age 16/56, life points 897, health points 64.8, realm, early stage of leather refining realm 37 out of 100, skills, 13 tiger moves great success, 799/800, 100 forging golden body skills entry level, 64 out of 100, martial arts, 5 beast fist great success, 783, 800, magical powers, none, skills, cooking great success, 129/800, fishing mastery, 45 out of 300, slaughtering minor success, 457/500, tips, 100 vitality points can increase lifespan by 1 year, 100 vitality points can increase health points by 1 point, and 1 vitality point can increase skill proficiency by 1 point in just 7 or 8 days. The progress of leather refining has reached 37. It seems that I will be able to break through to the middle stage in another 10 days or half a month. After refining the skin, the lost lifespan has been restored and increased by a lot. Wei Hong admired his attribute board with satisfaction. Seeing that 13 tiger moves and 5 beast fists were close to upgrading, he thought about it and simply added points. Ling. 13 tiger moves proficiency +1. Congratulations on breaking through to the perfect state. Current proficiency is 1/1200. Ling. 5 beast fists proficiency +17. Congratulations on breaking through to the perfect state. Current proficiency is 1/1200. 2 system prompts popped up in succession. The various martial arts perceptions in Wei Hong's mind gradually became clearer, deeper, and integrated. The realm of the pile training in boxing skills was like opening a window, and the level of understanding inexplicably went up a level, as if seeing a different scenery than before. So, this is how to use a fist. This is how to use strength. Wei Hong's shoulders shook, and his bones crackled. A force inexplicably poured in all directions, and the bluestone bricks under his feet were instantly shaken into powder. Tiger, leopard, bear, ape, crane. Wei Hong alternated between punching and kicking, turning and moving. His tall figure kept exerting strength in this training room. Sometimes he was as fierce as a tiger, and sometimes he was as light as a white crane. He had already mastered the essence of the 5 beast fist to perfection, and he had the demeanor of a master. After a hearty practice of boxing, he tried the perfect state of 13 tiger movement standing practice. He was seen lying on the ground and shaking his body slowly. His eyes became as fierce as a tiger, and his throat even roared like a dragon and a tiger. With every breath, his whole body's qi and blood were mobilized. Every tiny muscle was exercised, and his body seemed to have turned into a huge millstone, constantly squeezing every bit of excess fat energy to strengthen itself. Great! Wei Hong took a breath of cool air. He found that the higher the proficiency of the technique, the better the effect of tempering qi and blood. Now his body is getting stronger and stronger. Any food swallowed into his stomach will be completely digested within an instant of time, and all the nutrients in it will be used to strengthen the blood. This inhuman state is only the initial stage of the skin refining realm. I have to say that the road of warriors is really powerful. At the same time, in the Anlafang slums, 2 figures are searching for something in the night. Strange. One of the short and fat young men frowned and muttered, "Where did the 3 of them go? Did they come to the slums to have some fun? How come they disappeared? Something must have happened, keep looking." Another tall and thin strong man shouted coldly, "Damn it, I warned you not to be careless. There are hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the capital of God. How can we dirty men mess around? You don't believe it, what's wrong now?" "Don't worry, brother, they may just be delayed for a while." The short and fat young man smiled and comforted, "It's just a slum, what can be shown off? The 3 of Laoli won't suffer any loss together." Squeak. At this time, a lame figure pulled a dung cart from a distance. Before the person arrived, a foul smell came towards them, and the two immediately covered their noses in disgust. The person who came was Lu Shan. He was delayed in attending the housewarming party at Wei's house today, so he had to pour out the last batch of night fragrance in the middle of the night before he could go home to rest, and he happened to run into these two unfamiliar faces. Taking advantage of the night, Lu Shan glanced at the two casually, and wanted to leave with a manure cart. However, the tall and thin strong man clasped his hands and said in a foreign accent, "Excuse me, sir, can I ask you something for a moment? I don't deserve it." Lu Shan stopped and asked expressionlessly, "What can I do for you two? Looking for someone?" The tall and thin strong man pretended to be anxious and said, "We are all refugees from other places. 3 brothers got lost today. Someone saw them coming in here. But the terrain in this slum is complicated and there are shacks everywhere. It is really hard to find them. I wonder if you have seen them. Foreigners." Lu Shan's face moved, and he hesitated to speak. "I have seen them, but this." The tall and thin strong man immediately winked at the side when he heard it. The short and fat young man reluctantly took out a few copper coins, frowned and stuffed them into Lu Shan's hand, and said with a smile, "Have some tea. That's more like it, you're sensible." Lu Shan happily put away the copper coins and said, "Today when I was pulling the manure cart, I saw 3 unfamiliar faces. They went over there. They might have lost their way here. I'll take you to find them." After that, Lu Shan put down the manure cart and called for a direction. "Okay, thank you." The two were overjoyed and had no doubts. One after the other, they followed him into an alley. But they didn't see at all that Lu Shan's originally honest face suddenly became a little hideous under the night. Shoo! He turned around suddenly and punched the short and fat young man in the heart. The next moment, while the short and fat young man was groaning and flying backwards, his figure approached as agilely as a cheetah, and he held the other's head and twisted it sharply. With a creak, the short and fat young man died on the spot. It all happened too fast. In a flash, before the tall and thin strong man could react, Lu Shan had already shot the short and fat young man to death, and at the same time, he rushed towards him swiftly, and his agility was completely unlike that of a lame man. "You bastard, you are looking for death." The tall and thin strong man was so angry that he almost vomited blood. In his rage, his body suddenly swelled, the fabric of his clothes was burst, and he punched Lu Shan fiercely with a monstrous murderous aura. Puff! Lu Shan retreated in embarrassment. The bones of his right hand had been broken inch by inch in the hard collision. He was in pain and sweated all over his head, and a mouthful of black blood sprayed on the ground. "Dare to kill my brother, it seems that you killed my other 3 neighbors too." The tall and thin strong man approached step by step, roaring with ferocious eyes, "Tell me, who are you?" "I'm your father." Lu Shan spat a mouthful of blood, gritted his teeth and rushed forward again. The next moment, he was kicked away like a rag bag, his body slumped against the earthen wall, and he vomited blood crazily. "You won't tell me, right? I want to see how stubborn you are." The tall and thin man grabbed his hair and slammed him against the wall in anger. Lu Shan's painful howls were instantly heard in the alley. Please vote, please vote. Chapter 40, Die with Eyes Open, Kangshan Eagle Claw Technique. A cold wind came overnight, and the ground was frozen. A heavy snow fell for most of the night. The early morning city of God seemed to have been frozen, and everywhere was a beautiful poetic painting. But Wei Hong's mood was colder than ice and snow. He stood silently at the entrance of this unknown alley. His eyes were already filled with blood and Lu Shan's corpse with his eyes open. "Damn it, I don't know who did it, this is too cruel, right? All the bones in his body were crushed, and he must have suffered a lot before he died. Lu Shan has a bad temper. He has offended many people before. This time he is in trouble. It's bad luck. It happened so early in the morning. Let's send someone to collect the body." Several Yamen runners talked impatiently. "Stop talking, damn it." Captain Wang, who was dressed in a black robe and had a sword on his waist, frowned and scolded, then looked at Wei Hong and said, "Brother Hong, this is the reason I asked you to come here so early in the morning. Lu Shan was killed here last night. He has no children or relatives, and you were close to him. Don't worry." Wei Hong said in a hoarse voice, "I will bury him." "Okay." Captain Wang nodded with satisfaction. While calling for his men to leave, he patted him on the shoulder and said, "Lu Shan was killed by someone using the Kangshan Eagle Claw Kung Fu to crush his entire body of bones. He must have suffered a lot before he died. This kung fu is quite popular in Xuzhou. It is probably done by outsiders. You'd better be careful. Recently, there have been frequent chaos in the capital of gods. It is rumored that the old emperor is not in good health as before. The crown prince and the sixth prince are secretly fighting over the refugees. Our yamen has too many cases every day and we can't handle them all. Anyway, I will close the case of Lushan as a gang fight, and I can't help much later. Just keep it in mind. After saying that, Captain Wang hurriedly led his men away. Wei Hong couldn't help but clench his fists tightly. He never expected that Lushan, who was still chatting and laughing, drinking and boasting with him yesterday, would die here overnight, and died so miserably. He didn't find it strange that Captain Wang and others were perfunctory. This is how the world is, and human life is not as important as ants. The murder of an ordinary person would not attract any attention at all, and no one would seriously investigate the real murderer. As for why Lushan was killed, no one would care. Only Wei Hong vaguely felt that this matter was not simple. Lushan was a martial artist, and he had the strength of the late stage of the leather refining realm. Although one of his legs was lame, it did not affect his combat effectiveness much. Ordinary people were not his opponents at all. The reason why he had lived so hard these years, it was only because he had offended too many gang members when he was a constable that he was deliberately suppressed and banned, so that he could not find a decent job, and no one dared to hire him even to carry heavy bags. But this does not mean that he will easily encounter a fatal disaster. If Uncle Lu's former enemies wanted to kill him, they would have done it long ago, and they would not have waited until now to suddenly do it. Xuzhou, Kangshan Claw. Wei Hong murmured silently. Inexplicably, he remembered the three people he killed yesterday. Their accents were indeed a bit like Xuzhou. Then take a closer look at the traces of fighting in the alley. It can be roughly inferred that Uncle Lu was the first to attack. There may be 2 or 3 people on the other side, one of whom was killed, and then the rest began to fight back. So Captain Wang's judgment was correct, it was indeed done by outsiders. Connecting yesterday's events together, Wei Hong probably had an outline in his mind. When I brought Grandma Wang's family back to Xianbao Lane yesterday, Uncle Lu already knew about the bad things that happened to them. Although we didn't talk about it in detail, he must have guessed it roughly with his shrewdness. At night, the relatives and friends of the 3 murderers came to look for people. If they were seen by Uncle Lu, he would definitely take action to eliminate the troubles, so this inexplicable fight happened. Wei Hong thought it through and couldn't help but sigh. Several outsiders whose names he didn't even know had 2 life and death fights for no reason, and paid the price of 4 or 5 lives. What the hell is going on? He never expected that Lu Shan would take care of this matter. In fact, as long as he ignored it, these outsiders couldn't find the body and were unfamiliar with the place, so this matter would be fooled. But Lu Shan was serious about doing things and didn't want to leave any troubles. It is not difficult to guess that he was trying to protect Wei Hong and Grandma Wang, so he took action without hesitation, and in the end the other party was more skilled and killed him. In addition, Lu Shan must have been tortured before his death, but he refused to reveal anything. This sincere love and care was so heavy that it almost suffocated Wei Hong. "Uncle, let's go home." Wei Hong wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes with red eyes. He closed Lu Shan's eyes that were still open. Only then did he pick up his broken body and walked silently to his shack yard. "Uncle, don't worry. I will definitely avenge you, no matter who they are. This matter is not over." A weak whisper drifted in the wind. Wei Hong said nothing at this point. He was no longer hysterical, and he also restrained all his anger and sadness. There was no regret in his heart, only the belief in revenge. Will he regret helping Grandma Wang's family? No. Will Uncle Lu regret his rash actions and bring disaster to himself? No. Now that things have developed to the point of no end, Wei Hong will not care about the other party's identity and origin, and will not care who is right or wrong in this matter. He just wants the other party to die. Finally, Uncle Lu was buried in the small yard of his shack. Wei Hong dug a deep pit, without a tombstone or a grave mound. He just transplanted a jujube tree from somewhere else and planted it as a mark. "Uncle, I'm sorry. In order not to alert the enemy, I can't take your body out of the city with great fanfare and find a beautiful place to bury it. This is your home. If you suffer a little injustice, just bury it here. It will be convenient for me to come to see you on weekdays." Wei Hong sat on the ground casually. There were some wine, food, fruits, incense, paper and candles under the jujube tree. He opened a jar of rice wine and poured it on the ground, and opened another jar and drank it himself. I couldn't afford to drink before, and I didn't have time to drink one more cup with you yesterday, so I'll make it up now. You have no relatives, so you don't have to be missed when you leave. I will come to drink a few cups with you when I have time in the future, don't worry. Wei Hong talked to himself, and his mood gradually calmed down. Today's incident was so sudden that even he was caught off guard. Even after burying Lu Shan, he still felt like he was dreaming. Although he had known for a long time that refugees entering the city would cause trouble, Wei Hong had moved out early. But he never expected that he would be affected inexplicably in the end. I'm still inexperienced after all. If I had continued to root out the trouble after killing someone, or waited on the spot to eliminate the trouble, I wouldn't have implicated Uncle Lu. In addition, the killer must be very strong. At least I may not be his opponent now. But no matter what, let's dig the person out first. Wei Hong thought in his heart. His eyes gradually became cold. Chapter 41 Blood Crow Gang, Zhang Fushan. In the next few days, Wei Hong began to quietly collect intelligence and track down the murder of Lu Shan. He has lived in this divine capital for 16 years, working at the bottom all day long, so he must have some means and channels of his own. 5 days later, Shiangxin Building. In a secluded private room, there was a young man in front of Wei Hong. He was about 15 or 16 years old, thin and shabby, but his eyes were very bright, and he was wolfing down the food and wine on the table. Zhaoqi, eat slowly, no one is going to snatch it from you. Wei Hong poured him a glass of rice wine, and the young man took the glass and gulped down a few big gulps. Then he slowed down his movements with satisfaction. Brother Hong, I'm sorry to embarrass you. The boy chuckled and explained awkwardly, I've been busy day and night these days to take care of the things you asked me to do. I'm exhausted. It's okay, eat more. Wei Hong continued to pour him wine, and said in a gentle voice, take some leftovers back after you're full, so that your brothers and sisters can have a good meal. Yes, thank you, brother. The boy was full of gratitude, and then whispered, the person you asked me to track down has been found. Wei Hong's face turned cold, and he motioned him to continue. On the night when Uncle Lu got into trouble, 2 strange men did enter the slums. The boy said in a deep voice, many people saw them and asked around to find them. It is said that they were looking for 3 strong men. Although no one saw them clashing with Uncle Lu, it is likely that these 2 people are the ones. The number of people matches. Wei Hong nodded in agreement. One of them is short and fat, while the other is tall and thin. They don't have any special features. The young man said with embarrassment, nowadays, there are refugees everywhere. It's really not easy to find them. You are so cunning. Why would you look for me when you don't have any news? Wei Hong knocked him on the head in annoyance. The young man then grinned. Brother Hong, you understand me. The young man lowered his voice and boasted, it's really not easy for ordinary people to find them, but look who I am. I am Luan Zhaoqi. After saying that, he paused. There was a fierceness and sadness in his eyes. Uncle Lu helped bury my parents when they died, so I had to dig them out even if I had to search the entire Shandu. So I deliberately looked for an acquaintance who worked as a waiter at the tavern at the city gate, and found out that 2 people did leave the city early the next morning. Their figures matched exactly, and at that time, the thin and tall man carried the short and fat young man on his back, and told the patrolling city guards that his brother had died of an acute illness and urgently needed to leave the city for burial. Following this clue, I traced it for a while and found that this man buried the deceased in a small forest at the foot of Nanshan Mountain, and he himself returned to the refugee shack. Wei Hong's fists creaked. It's good to find the person, now let's see how he runs. He naturally knew about the refugee shack. It is said that because there are too many refugees in the city recently, the crown prince of the current dynasty has tried his best to resettle them, and he has distributed porridge and sent people to gather refugees, which has formed many settlements outside the city. In the spring of next year, these people will be sent back to their hometowns. The refugee settlements are now full of mixed people, and the situation is even worse than the slums. As long as we find this person, it will not be difficult to create an opportunity to take action. It will be much easier to find them if we know where they are. The young man continued, I disguised myself as a refugee and sneaked into the settlement to inquire quietly. I soon got to know their details. This group of people is named Zheng, and they are from Zhangjia village outside Fubo city in Kangshan, Xiuzhou. Since Xiuzhou suffered a snowstorm and famine some time ago, Hundreds of people in Zhangjia village had to embark on the road of fleeing and begging. They fled all the way to the capital of gods. Most of them died along the way before they arrived here. The most vicious among this group of people are Zhang Fusheng and his brothers, who are the tall and thin ones who killed Uncle Lu in the end. They have done a lot of evil in the village because of their brothers. This Zhang Fusheng is even smarter. He raised money to join a martial arts school in his early years. It is said that he became a bandit when he was young and had a lot of lives on his hands. He is definitely a ruthless character that ordinary people dare not provoke. Wei Hong narrowed his eyes and tapped the table silently. He remembered the name Zhang Fusheng again and again in his heart. But the young man hesitated and said, "This Zhang Fusheng is not in the refugee settlement now." "Why?" Wei Hong's eyes widened. "Did he run away?" "No." The young man shook his head and said, "His brothers died inexplicably, and now he has no contact with the people in Zhangjia village. He simply went to Chengdu alone to make a living. At first he wanted to find some work, but all the major stores only recruited locals with clean backgrounds and didn't want him at all. He wanted to be a guard in the homes of the rich and powerful, but no one was willing to accept him. In the end, he joined the Blood Crow gang." Wei Hong shook the wine glass in his hand. There was also a storm in his heart. Obviously, he didn't expect that this guy would change his identity in just a few days, and suddenly turned from a refugee into a gangster. "Will the Blood Crow gang accept him?" Wei Hong asked. "Of course." The young man sneered as he picked up the food. "Recently, the Blood Crow gang and the Tiger Head gang have been fighting overtly and covertly for many times. They are in need of manpower. There are many skilled practitioners among the refugees. Will they refuse to accept them? Zhang Fusheng should have the strength of the late to perfect leather refining realm. He just joined the Blood Crow gang and became a small leader. Now he is responsible for guarding the Siphon Casino at the intersection of West Street, and he manages more than 20 people. Now he is no longer a miserable refugee. He has become a street bully. You should be careful." Wei Hong immediately stood up and walked to the window. When he opened the window, he could see the street below. Not far away was the bustling Siphon Casino. Those who came in and out were either gamblers or wealthy people. There were 4 strong men with their arms folded at the door. They looked very aggressive and not easy to mess with. "No wonder you asked me to meet at Shiangxin building. That's why," Wei Hong murmured. "Look." The young man pursed his lips and sneered, "Isn't he here?" Wei Hong looked up and saw a tall, thin middle-aged man in a light blue brocade robe, stepping out of the gambling house to greet a wealthy man. He was Zhang Fusheng, the murderer who killed Uncle Lu. Although this man looked a bit rustic, he was full of evil spirits. Even with a deliberate smile, he could not hide his vicious look. It was obvious that he was very difficult to provoke. Now he is the leader of the Dishahal of the Blood Crow gang. The young man said solemnly, "Brother Hong, if you want to avenge Uncle Lu, it may not be easy. Be careful not to provoke these crazy dogs of the Blood Crow gang. They are much more cruel than ordinary gangs." Wei Hong nodded heavily. He naturally knew the trouble of this matter. The Blood Crow gang was able to suppress the old gangs like the Tiger Head gang because of their madness and recklessness. There are so many desperate people under their tutelage. How can ordinary people afford to provoke them? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42. People in this world are always entangled, and the passion of young people ends up in vain. Although Wei Hong's life is better now than before, he is only a butcher after all, and he has only started practicing martial arts for a few months. Whether in terms of identity, status, or martial arts, Wei Hong can only be regarded as the bottom among the numerous gods in this capital. It can be said that it is absolutely unwise to want to provoke a small leader of the Blood Crow gang head-on, and he is also a master who is suspected to be perfect in the leather refining realm. It's interesting to have a challenge, isn't it? If a head-on confrontation doesn't work, then use a sneak attack. Now I am in the dark and he is in the light. As long as I wait patiently, I will always find a chance to kill this bastard. Wei Hong raised his hand and drank a glass of wine, muttering silently in his heart. Uncle Lu's revenge must be avenged. Now that he has found out who his opponent is, he is much more relieved, and the rest only needs to be left to time. Zhao Qi, you go first. Wei Hong took out a purse and threw it to the boy, saying solemnly, "This matter involves a lot of things, so don't get involved too much. Take this little money back to buy clothes for your brother and sister." "Brother Hong, are you looking down on me?" The boy stood up angrily, and said unconvincedly, "Uncle Lu treated me very well. Why didn't he take me with him to avenge him? And why did you give me money? To send away beggars? Don't talk nonsense." Wei Hong scolded unhappily, "You still have brothers and sisters at home, think about them." The boy opened his mouth and fell silent. Wei Hong sighed and comforted, "You have helped me a lot to find Zhang Fushan. This matter should not involve you anymore. Take the money and live a good life. Learn a skill to support your brother and sister. Go." The boy was hesitant to speak. In the end, he sighed and turned away. There are always many ties in the world, and the boy's passion is in vain. He cannot die, but he can't ignore his family. Don't be impatient. Hunting requires patience. Wei Hong looked at the street with a sneer on his face, muttering, "Don't say you are just a perfect skin refining realm. Even if you are a strong blood refining realm and bone refining realm, I have time to play with you slowly. If 1 month doesn't work, then half a year. If half a year doesn't work, then 1 year. If 1 year doesn't work, then 3 years. One day I will twist off your dog head." After making up his mind, Wei Hong now has only one worry left. Will he be discovered by Zhang Fushan before he makes a move? As long as Wei Hong is not discovered, he has enough time to develop slowly. Wait until he becomes strong enough to deal with the other party. But Zhang Fushan is obviously not a fool. Why did he take root in the capital of gods and join the Blood Crow gang inexplicably? Maybe he also noticed that this conflict was a bit strange and suspected that there was another murderer in his brother's death. Lu Shan's sudden move made him realize that there is a lot of water in the slums. If he wants to figure out the cause and effect of this matter and find the other 3 missing brothers, then the best way is to join the gang. In other words, now, not only Wei Hong is watching him, Zhang Fushan is likely to have not let this matter go. One day, the two will inevitably meet. Now the key point of who lives and who dies is who makes the first move. If he finds Wei Hong and Grandma Wang's family first, then the consequences are self-evident. Zhang Fushan directly brings the Blood Crow gang's younger brothers to kill them, and no one dares to save them. Interesting, really interesting. Wei Hong thought about this and couldn't help but chuckle. In this way, things have become more urgent. Now it seems that there is a knife hanging on his forehead at any time, forcing him to solve it and work hard for his own life. This feeling is really tense and exciting, and it has a bit of the flavor of werewolf. Faced with this situation, Wei Hong felt that he had to be prepared for both situations. First, improve his strength as soon as possible, and strive to kill Zhang Fushan first when he is absolutely sure. Second, prepare for the worst. Once he finds out about him in advance, he must have the confidence to fight to the death. Zhang Fushan was born in a village in Xuzhou. He learned some boxing skills in a martial arts school. He only reached the perfect level of the leather refining realm in his middle age. That means he can only have an arm strength of 1,200 jin at most. Now my arm strength is close to 700 jin, and my boxing skills have reached the perfect level. I can deal with ordinary people in the late leather refining realm. The gap between him and me lies in many aspects such as membrane defense, strength, and experience. Even if I find the right time to sneak attack and use a good weapon to break the defense, I may not be able to kill him now. After a while of analysis, Wei Hong subconsciously took out his wallet and weighed it. Because he insisted on going to the martial arts school to practice with others every day. After a period of time, he saved a lot of money, but most of it was spent on the last housewarming party. Now he still has the silver gifts from the guests. Most of the guests at the 8 tables are not rich. Only Lin Wuxian, Wang Dazi and others gave more gifts, which added up to about 7 or 8 taels. This is not enough to make a good weapon. Wei Hong exhaled in frustration, and the new year is coming soon, and it will be New Year's Eve in 2 days. He still has to save some money to buy New Year's goods. Now it costs more than 10 taels of silver to make a good knife. A magical weapon that can cut iron like mud is worth thousands of gold. So it is not easy for Wei Hong to buy a good weapon for self-defense. In short, he is still too poor. Although I can't buy a good weapon, it is still okay to get a spike-like weapon, such as a water-dividing spike or a fish intestine knife. It can definitely break the defense by stabbing a place with all your strength. In addition, with some poison and quicklime, It can also be useful at a critical moment. At the same time, it is best to prepare a few more hiding places. Once the situation inevitably deteriorates, at least you can successfully avoid being hunted down. Wei Hong planned everything in detail. Born in the slums, he knew many dirty tricks since he was a child. If you really want to spend a lot of effort to deal with someone, you can naturally think of a lot of tricks. After a plan, he got up and left. At the entrance of Siphon Casino, Zhang Fusheng seemed to have noticed something. He subconsciously looked up at the window of the private room where Wei Hong had just been. "Master Zhang, what are you looking at?" a hoodlum asked with a smile. "Nothing." Zhang Fusheng suppressed his irritability and frowned and asked back, "Have you figured out the matter I asked you to investigate?" "No, it's difficult." The hoodlum smiled and replied in a low voice, "Our Blood Crow gang has just stepped into Anlafang. This area used to be the territory of the Tiger Head gang. The slums are even more mixed. 1 or 2 brothers dare not go in. If too many people go, they are likely to be hostile to the Tiger Head gang. It's really waste." Zhang Fusheng snorted impatiently. Just as Wei Hong judged, he had never given up investigating what happened a few days ago. His 3 brothers disappeared inexplicably. One brother was inexplicably killed by Lu Shan, who was pulling manure. Everything was too strange. Who did they offend? Where is the enemy hiding? Zhang Fusheng didn't dare to think too much, but he was unwilling to give up. He could only carefully hide and investigate in this unfamiliar city. Unfortunately, he had just arrived and had not yet completely subjugated his subordinates. As a result, his subordinates did things perfunctorily and were unwilling to work hard, which also slowed Zhang Fusheng down in discovering his opponent. Chapter 43, New Year's Eve. Human power is limited. New Year's Eve, firecrackers are ringing, fireworks are gorgeous. At the moment when thousands of lights are shining and the atmosphere in Wei's house is particularly solemn. The pavilion in the yard is filled with a table of New Year's Eve dinner, but it can't arouse everyone's appetite. Because Wei Hong just told them about Zhang Fusheng. That's probably what happened. Wei Hong poured himself a glass of water and wine, raised his eyebrows and said, "I shouldn't have told you about this, so as not to scare you all to lose your appetite and sleep, but the situation is a bit critical, so it's better to let you know, otherwise you won't know why you died one day. From now on, you can live your life as you should. I will try my best to get rid of this guy. Don't be afraid to attract the other party's attention. Be more alert at ordinary times. Once you find that you are being followed or in danger, flee to the slums immediately. The other party is unfamiliar with the place, and the terrain in the slums is complicated. Once you escape in, you can delay some time to save your life." After hearing this, Old Wei and Grandma Wang's old faces were already ashen. The 2 little girls, Chunlin and Qiuju, were almost scared to tears. Who would have thought that they would get into trouble with such a powerful enemy, for no reason? And they even lost Lushan's life? Now the enemy has become a small leader of the Blood Crow gang. What should we do? Chunlin stamped her feet anxiously. "We are not going to be killed, are we? The Blood Crow gang kills people without blinking an eye. Let's run away." "Where to run to? There are refugees and bandits everywhere outside. Do you want to starve to death on the road?" Qiuju retorted hurriedly. "You little brat." Old Wei glared at Wei Hong and said angrily, "Why are you talking about these things on New Year's Day? Xiaolin and Xiaoju will be scared to death by you. Being scared to death is better than dying miserably." Wei Hong said seriously, "This is not a joke. I am not in the mood to act like a little girl with you. Once you find danger, you'd better run away quickly, otherwise no one can save you. I don't regret intervening in this matter, and Uncle Lu will not regret losing his life for it, but human power is ultimately limited. I am just a half bucket of water who has practiced martial arts for a few months. If I have the spare energy to protect you, I will naturally be happy to do it, but now I don't have this ability. Once the other party retaliates, it is unknown whether we can protect the lives of our grandfather and grandson. You'd better pray for yourselves." The words were extremely unpleasant to hear. But everyone was powerless to refute. Even the most kind-hearted Old Wei had to admit it. If there was real danger, he still hoped that Wei Hong could run away alone. Who would be stupid enough to lose his life for others? Grandma Wang smiled with a pale face, comforting Chunlin and Qiuju who were crying, and sighed, "Brother Hong also meant well. Just don't blame us for getting ourselves involved in this matter. What else can we ask for? We should have died last time, and now we are lucky to live one more day." "Yes, Brother Wei, we don't blame you. Kyuju said with a firm face, if the enemy really finds us, the worst that can happen is death. Okay. Wei Hong smiled with satisfaction, raised his glass and said, such courage is not in vain for me to save you once. Don't spoil the fun on New Year's Day. Drink and eat. It's better to die a full ghost. Yes, eat. Everyone forced a smile and raised their glasses. Extreme fear often makes people grow up. Wei Hong didn't intend to take on everything. He had said everything. If the situation really got out of control, he would definitely not be indecisive in the end. Next, the New Year's Eve dinner was eaten in silence. This is Wei Hong's 16th year in this world, and it is also the most unforgettable year. Poor families don't have much to be particular about. After eating a meal, they will stay up until dawn. Grandma Wang and her 2 granddaughters were busy cleaning the table, making tea and burning charcoal, and they were busy with heavy hearts. Wei Hong was too lazy to comfort them. He just waved to Chuju and said, I want to practice martial arts. Can you help me light a fire under the big pot in the practice room? Okay. Chuju agreed with sparkling eyes. She happily started to get busy, and soon she started to light a fire under the big pot. She knew that Wei Hong had to practice martial arts every night. People who practice martial arts rarely sleep and can rest well in 1 or 2 hours. During this period, he practiced like crazy. Chuju was naturally very happy to help him light the fire at this moment. Brother Wei, can I practice martial arts with you? Taking advantage of the free time, Chuju couldn't help but ask in a low voice. Wei Hong smiled and gave a positive answer, of course, I know you want to learn martial arts to gain self-protection ability, and you are also worried about the physical differences between men and women and back off. In fact, anyone can learn martial arts. It is better to practice a few moves than not to practice. Really? The little girl was surprised at once. If you think about it carefully, this statement really makes sense. It is better to practice than not to practice. Kyuju thought about it and asked seriously, Brother Wei, can I learn your martial arts? I can pay the tuition. Tuition is not necessary. If you want to learn, I can teach you Huangguang and 5 Beast Fist. Wei Hong thought for a moment and sincerely suggested, after you have laid a solid foundation, if you still intend to follow the path of martial arts, you can save money and find a martial arts hall to learn skin refining. My way is not suitable for you. Why? Kyuju was puzzled. Wei Hong didn't say much, but asked her to increase the fire. When the big pot was burned hot and the iron sands kept emitting white smoke, he took off his coat and started to practice bare-chested. The hot iron sand was held up with both hands, and the next moment it was smeared all over the skin. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Waves of white smoke mixed with the smell of barbecue came out. Chuju was so frightened that she trembled all over. How could she not understand what Wei Hong meant? It was obvious that a skin refining technique was too rough and not suitable for her. Men's martial arts only depend on whether the technique is fierce or not. Wei Hong said while refining the skin, but women's martial arts are much more troublesome. They must not disfigure themselves, and their postures must be agile and graceful. Unless you go to a martial arts hall to learn women's techniques, I advise you not to practice, unless you want to become a big and ugly woman. Chuju hesitated and finally nodded silently. She didn't want to become ugly if there was any way. It would be better to lay the foundation first according to Wei Hong's arrangement, and there was no rush to practice martial arts. You go out first. Wei Hong said casually, I have to take off my pants and practice skin later, it's not appropriate for you to be here. After dinner every day, you come to the practice room to watch me practice Huangguang and 5 Beast Fist. When you remember it well, you can practice it by yourself. Okay. Kyuju nodded with a red face and turned to leave the practice room. Looking at the beautiful scenery of fireworks blooming over the capital, and then looking back at Wei Hong who was sweating profusely and didn't care about his skin being torn, she inexplicably felt a sense of security in her heart. He practiced without stopping on New Year's Eve. No matter how prosperous the outside world is, he can endure loneliness and pain. If this kind of man doesn't succeed, who can succeed? Chapter 44, Green vitriol corrodes the body, first molting. Skin refining progress +1, current progress is 87/100. After a hard training, Wei Hong exhaled a long breath of waste gas, but couldn't help frowning. He has been nervous these days. Every day, besides going to work, he practices martial arts like crazy, but the progress is still not satisfactory. if you want to achieve the first molting. I'm afraid it will take another 3 or 5 days. For some reason, Wei Hong always feels bad. The sixth sense tells him that he must break through as soon as possible. So he gritted his teeth and looked at a clay pot piled in the corner. 100 Forging Golden Body Skills records various strange and bizarre methods of skin refining. Most of these methods are fierce, and they can easily cause injuries, so that Wei Hong doesn't dare to try them himself now. But after patiently searching, he still managed to find a method that he could try. The earthenware pot is filled with half a jar of green liquid, which is called green vitriol oil. It is made from the medicinal or green vitriol and is often used to maintain and remove rust from weapons. It is highly corrosive and can be regarded as sulfuric acid made by native methods. Many women in the inner palace also like to use it to destroy people's faces. The skin refining method recorded in 100 Forging Golden Body Skills is to apply diluted green vitriol oil to the whole body, and then apply precious clam jade paste to repair it after the skin is severely burned. In this way, the efficiency of skin refining will naturally double. However, not everyone dares to try this method. First, it is very dangerous and may disfigure and cause disability at any time. Secondly, although green vitriol oil is not expensive, you can buy a large jar for 3 taels of silver, but the clam jade paste for repairing the skin is frighteningly expensive, and it takes 120 taels of silver to buy a small box. This dangerous and cost-effective way of refining skin is only recorded casually in the secret manual of the skill. It stands to reason that most people would not be stupid enough to really practice it. But Wei Hong thought about it again and again, and felt that it was very suitable for him. He could afford green vitriol oil, and it didn't matter whether it was diluted or not. Although he couldn't afford the clam jade paste, he had the vitality to repair the skin membrane. It just so happened that the progress of skin refining was too slow. After thinking it over again and again, he decided to give it a try. Maybe it could bring a different surprise. 3 spoons of green vitriol oil, add a bucket of water, and then apply it all over your body. Wei Hong flipped through the secret book in his hand. It was roughly estimated that it should be diluted about 20 times. But he was too lazy to bother with it, and threw the book aside. He gritted his teeth and put his left hand into the earthenware jar. Ah! A sharp pain accompanied by bursts of white smoke. The skin on Wei Hong's left hand was immediately severely corroded. This was undiluted green vitriol oil, which could even corrode the rust on weapons. How could a person's skin membrane withstand it? But Wei Hong not only resisted it, but he gritted his teeth and rubbed it on his body. Hiss! Waves of severe pain spread from his whole body. He gasped in pain and almost fainted. Come again. Wei Hong endured the severe pain and stuffed a towel into his mouth and bit it, then began to smear it frantically, so that his skin was corroded like a weakened version of sulfuric acid, and was directly corroded into pits and pits. White smoke was coming out everywhere. Every inch of skin was festering. He even didn't let go of any corner, not only the scalp, ears, eyelids, soles of feet, but even his crotch, shivering with pain and applying it. When Wei Hong's whole body was no longer human, he finally chose to add points silently, and the addition was 100 points of vitality. Waves of warm and majestic vitality energy poured into himself, quickly alleviating his severe pain, and at the same time constantly repairing the injuries on his skin. Wei Hong's health points, which had been dropping wildly, were also slowly recovering. Skin refining progress +1, current progress is 88 out of 100. Skin refining progress +1, current progress is 89 out of 100. Message prompts flashed by. Wei Hong couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and fell to the ground, gasping for air. After a while, his injuries finally recovered, and his skin membrane became stronger than before. The only flaw was that his hair had been corroded, and even his head became bald. It's okay, bald is stronger. Wei Hong comforted himself while summarizing his gains. His skin refining progress suddenly increased from 87 to 92, and the progress was so great that it was simply ecstatic. Usually, I practiced hard for half an hour to increase my progress by only 1 point. Now I suffer a little, but the progress has increased 5 times. It's worth it. Keep going, try to shed my skin tonight. Wei Hong was excited and gritted his teeth to practice again. He bit the towel and applied the green vitriol oil on his body again and again, feeling that he was suffering every minute and every second, and he almost fainted several times. But in the end he still held on. After a long time, Wei Hong, who applied it for the third time, finally collapsed to the ground. He was sweating profusely and was covered in wounds. His spirit was close to madness. However, at this time, the 100 forging golden body skill was silently running, and a stream of blood began to wash the membrane frantically. Wei Hong took a breath and howled in pain. Fortunately, he still had a towel in his mouth. Otherwise, I'm afraid that everyone would be alarmed. This sudden change made Wei Hong frightened. He couldn't help but secretly ecstatic, because this must be what Luo Jiao Tao said about molting. No wonder he felt like he was being tortured all over at this moment. The membrane was forcibly squeezed open inch by inch, and new membranes began to form layer by layer. Even his bald hair was growing rapidly. The severe pain was accompanied by a severe itching, which was simply ecstatic. After enduring an unknown amount of torture, Wei Hong woke up in a daze. The severe pain in his body had dissipated like a tide, and was replaced by a surge of energy sweeping his body. Host, Wei Hong, age 16/62, life points 42, health points 90.1, realm, middle stage of leather refining realm 1/100, skills, 13 tiger moves perfect, 124/1200, 100 forging golden body skills mastery, 39/300, martial arts, 5 beast fist perfect, 83/1200, magical powers, none, skills, cooking great mastery, 129/800, fishing mastery, 45 out of 300, slaughtering great mastery, 67 out of 800, tips, 100 vitality points can increase lifespan by 1 year, 100 vitality points can increase health points by 1 point, and 1 vitality point can increase skill proficiency by 1 point. Middle stage of leather refining realm, 90 health points. Now I have at least 200 pounds of arm strength, right? Wei Hong was overjoyed. After he simply washed off the blood on his body, he found that he had shed a layer of scarred old skin, and now his whole body was covered with a layer of new skin as white as jade. Even his hair grew back. At this time, his skin was whiter than snow, and he inexplicably had the demeanor of a gentleman. Where was the pig butcher before? Please vote and read on. Chapter 45, a sudden increase in strength, a sacrifice in the middle of the night. Brother Wei, you? What's wrong with you? In the night, Wei Hong put on a green robe and walked out of the training room. Qi Uju and others who were staying up late in the pavilion stopped drinking tea and chatting in shock. They all stared at him in astonishment. During dinner, Wei Hong was still a young man with rough skin. At this moment, his skin was white and tender, and his aura was outstanding like a banished immortal. He put on a half-new and half-old robe, and he looked like a prince. For a moment, Chunlin and Qi Uju were stunned. Old Wei and Grandma Wang also looked like they had seen a ghost. Don't be surprised, he just broke through and changed into a new layer of skin. Wei Hong explained casually, skin refining realm warriors will always shed their skin every time they break through a small realm. The new skin is whiter and tenderer, and it will return to normal after a while. So that's it. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they heard it. Old Wei couldn't help but mutter, I thought you were possessed by a ghost. Don't talk nonsense. Grandma Wang laughed dumbly and said, it's a good thing that Hanger's strength has become stronger. Yes, if Brother Wei's strength breaks through, won't we be much safer? That's great. The solemn atmosphere suddenly became much more relaxed. Wei Hong smiled and didn't refute this statement. In fact, after his breakthrough, he was indeed more confident against Zhang Fushan. After all, Zhang Fushan's arm strength was only 1,200 pounds at most. Although Wei Hong was still 300 pounds short of his arm strength. But his perfect level of 5 beast fist is comparable to that of a boxing master, and with a combination of defense-breaking weapons, it is not impossible for the weak to defeat the strong. Before the breakthrough, he would most likely lose to Zhang Fushan. Now he has a chance of winning against Zhang Fushan in a head-on confrontation. Moreover, with every day that passes, he can become more powerful with the vitality he plundered. What is a small perfect warrior in the refining skin realm? Thinking about this clearly, Wei Hong naturally felt better. He even took the time to test a membrane defense after the breakthrough. A kitchen knife chopped fiercely on his arm, and with a ding sound, it was like chopping on a piece of iron. Not only was it bounced off on the spot, but there was not even a trace of wound. Ling. Wei Hong increased his strength and chopped again. Everyone gasped in shock, and then saw a faint blood mark on his white arm, and the wound quickly stopped bleeding and scabbed. This kind of defense is simply inhuman. The hardness and thickness of the membrane have made a qualitative leap, at least 7 or 8 times stronger than before, and now it has reached a level comparable to ordinary leather. In addition, there is a stream of blood flowing slowly under the membrane. Once attacked, it will automatically engorge then rebound. It's amazing. Wei Hong closed his eyes and silently felt the changes after the breakthrough, and the corners of his mouth unconsciously raised a little arc. He found that his changes were not just that. His strength, speed, physique, and even the speed of blood mobilization had changed drastically. He was much stronger than before the breakthrough. Wei Hong has only been refining his skin for more than half a month. If this terrifying progress is told to others, it will probably make people dumbfounded. Grandpa. Wei Hong gathered his clothes and said casually, "Let's stay up tonight. I have to go to the butcher shop to work." "So early?" Old Wei said distressedly. "You have been practicing martial arts and haven't slept yet. How can your body bear it?" "It's okay." Wei Hong smiled indifferently. Martial artists are energetic and vigorous. They won't be tired even if they don't sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. They only need to sleep for 1 or 2 hours a day. Now it's the new year. I don't know how many pigs will be slaughtered in the butcher shop. How can I not go early? Okay, you should pay attention. Old Wei advised. Well. Wei Hong nodded and turned to go out. During the new year, the workload of slaughtering pigs and sheep in the butcher shop is very heavy every day. 1 day is equivalent to 3 days of normal days. How could he miss such a good opportunity to make a living? Now every household is staying up to see the new year. The entire city of gods has almost turned into a city that never sleeps. Not only were there brilliant fireworks from the rich and powerful above, but there were also countless big red lanterns on the streets and alleys. Occasionally, drunk pedestrians could be seen on the streets, and the atmosphere of the new year was full of hustle and bustle. Wei Hong was like a lonely traveler going against a current. He was out of tune with this bustling place, with a calm look in his eyes. He just walked silently on the street, and even when walking and breathing, he did not forget to integrate his 13 tiger movement standing practice, constantly adjusting his ki and blood. However, as soon as he reached a street corner, he could not help but stop. Under the night, a tall and thin figure was squatting on the street and burning paper money. In front of him were several bowls of white rice, 3 kinds of meat and fruit, 2 candles, a handful of burning fragrance, and handfuls of paper money flying in the wind. It was obvious that he was offering sacrifices to someone. On such a day of harmony among all families, this person seemed a bit abrupt. However, he was followed by 2 tall and strong men wearing the robes of the Blood Crow gang, so no one dared to say anything. Passers-by just cursed and walked away. Zhang Fushan. Wei Hong narrowed his eyes and happened to look him in the eye. This man was indeed Zhang Fushan. He was unfamiliar with this place, and he was even more depressed during the new year. He simply came to the corner of the slum to worship his dead brother. As a result, he ran into Wei Hong, who was working at night. If it was an ordinary passerby, he might not say much. But Wei Hong was not an ordinary passerby. He walked with a calm breath and a brisk pace, and his eyes seemed to be scanning the surroundings. He had a unique deterrent power of a warrior. In addition, he had just broken through and his skin was white and tender. The whole body exuded the temperament of a nobleman, and people dared not underestimate him at a glance. "Who are you?" Zhang Fushan asked subconsciously. "A passerby." Wei Hong raised his eyebrows and replied indifferently, "Why? You have to be questioned even if you pass by in the middle of the night? When did your Blood Crow gang take on the job of patrolling the city? What nonsense are you talking about? Damn it, you want to die, right?" The 2 strong men were so angry that they shouted at him. Zhang Fushan looked at him solemnly for a few times, but finally said with a fake smile, "Sorry, my subordinates are ignorant. Please do as you please." Wei Hong didn't say anything more and walked straight towards them. After he walked away, Zhang Fushan couldn't help asking, "This kid feels a bit strange. Do you know his background?" It should be Wei Hong, the knifeman of Zhuji meat shop under this Hongai Hall of the Tiger Head gang. A strong man sneered and said, "I haven't seen this kid for more than half a year, and his appearance and demeanor have changed a lot. If I hadn't been hanging out on the streets for many years, I'm afraid I wouldn't recognize him." "Oh." Zhang Fushan forced himself to suppress the inexplicable throbbing in his heart, and finally chose not to speak. "He was just a passerby who I met in the middle of the night, and he was a member of the Tiger Head gang, so it was normal for him to have something decent." This was the capital of the gods, and any passerby could be related to the rich and powerful, with all kinds of relationships and connections. How could Zhang Fushan, a rough man from the countryside, dare to act wildly? Chapter 46, Grade B Sparring, Why Not? Wei Hong's breakthrough. Because the molting characteristics were obvious, he couldn't hide it. When he started working at the butcher shop, he shocked everyone. After all, no one expected that a person who had only been refining skin for more than half a month would break through from the initial stage to the middle stage. As the saying goes, 3 years of training strength, 10 years of refining skin. Normal warriors have to work hard for many years, and it takes a year and a half to break through once. It is really rare to break through a small realm once in more than half a month. Therefore, Wei Hong's name as a genius was once again confirmed. No matter how much he didn't want to be high profile, he was a pig butcher with a white and tender skin, just like a crane standing out among chickens in the bright moon, which surprised the people around him. In the next few days, Wei Hong was busy killing pigs every day to make a living. He had to take all kinds of gifts and go to the neighbors with Old Wei to wish them a happy new year. It was not until the 7th day of the first lunar month that he found time and appeared in the Iron Fist Martial Arts Hall again. Maybe because of the new year, the martial arts hall seemed a little deserted, with less than half of the people on weekdays. Wei Hong, holding 2 boxes of cakes in his hands, politely visited Luo Jiao Tao. Luo Jiao Tao, Happy New Year. Wei Hong happily bowed and said, "Thank you for your care every day. This small gift is not a respect." You? You are Wei Hong. Luo Jiao Tao's eyes widened in shock. Obviously, he also saw his difference at a glance. However, he didn't know the specific time when Wei Hong would refine his skin, so he just sighed that he had good talent and didn't say anything more. He smiled and accepted the cakes. No need to spend so much money, just say some auspicious words when you wish a happy new year. Luo Jiao Tao said with a smile, "Your strength is improving fast enough. But now that there are few people in the martial arts hall during the new year, I'm afraid not many people want to have a sparring partner." "No problem, I just came here to walk around." Wei Hong smiled indifferently and asked casually, "Also, I want to ask, how to assess the B-level sparring partner?" B-level? Luo Jiao Tao looked at him up and down with a strange look on his face. He secretly thought that this kid was really ambitious, but if he thought about it carefully, he had performed so well in the early stage of skin refining. Now that he has broken through in strength, it is not impossible to expect the treatment of Grade B. After all, a cup of tea for a Grade B sparring partner is 500 yuan, and the income has increased 5 times. Do you really want to be promoted to Grade B sparring partner? Luo Jiao Tao hesitated and said, "Grade C sparring partners can only deal with opponents within the middle stage of skin refining. But Grade B sparring partners have to deal with late stage or even perfect skin refining sponsors. Their methods are more terrible, and the difficulty is definitely increased tenfold or 100-fold. Of course I know," Wei Hong said sincerely, "but I still want to try. How about asking Luo Jiao Tao to test you once or twice?" "No need to test." Luo Jiao Tao shook his head and said, "I still know your strength. In the past, ordinary late-stage skin refining opponents would find it difficult to defeat you without full strength. Now that you have broken through, you are naturally qualified to be a Grade B sparring partner. Just be careful." "Thank you, coach." Wei Hong's mood suddenly improved. Being promoted to Grade B sparring partner not only means that his income will increase dramatically. Moreover, every day, there are masters in the late stage of the leather refining realm or even the perfect stage who pay to practice with him, which continuously enhances his fighting experience. How can he not be happy with such a best of both worlds? "Brother Wei, congratulations." Lu Ming came over and said cheerfully, "With your ability, you have been promoted to a Class B sparring partner. I'm afraid you will earn tens or hundreds of taels every month. You have to treat us to drink." "Of course." Wei Hong waved his hand and said, "You can choose Shiangsan Building or Xinghu Pavilion. Today we won't go home until we are drunk. Coach Luo, why don't you give us a favor?" With money in his pocket, Wei Hong naturally behaved generously. The restaurant that he never dared to step into in the past has now become a regular customer. It is common to entertain guests to maintain personal connections on weekdays, so he doesn't care about the cost of 1 or 2 drinks. "I won't go, you guys go." Coach Luo shook his head and smiled and turned around to continue his work. Lu Ming came over and put his arm around his shoulder, winking and saying, You're kidding? How can I ask you to treat me? Come on, I'll buy you a drink. Where are we going? Wei Hong was not disgusted by his closeness. The two of them had been communicating with each other on a daily basis during this period, and they had developed feelings for each other through sparring from time to time, so he and Lu Ming could be considered friends. Let's go to the pleasure boat to have fun. Lu Ming said with a smile. Why, you don't dare to go? What's the point of just drinking? Painted boat. Wei Hong looked strange. Isn't this a paradise for men to drink and have fun? He was not a person who pretended to be noble. Who doesn't like to listen to music in a brothel? It's just that he didn't go there in the past because he had no money. It's not an ordinary pleasure boat. Lu Ming said with a sly smile. I'll take you to broaden your horizons today. Okay. Wei Hong didn't refuse. The two of them went straight to the inland dock one after the other. There are a large number of pleasure boats docked here all year round, and each one is extremely luxurious. There are many kinds of painted boats. Some are just for boating on the lake, listening to music and watching dance. Most of these painted boats receive guests during the day. Many literati and elegant guests prefer them, and most of the boats are prostitutes. Some painted boats are engaged in the flesh trade. They cruise on the lake at night, drink and have fun. After having fun, they play with real swords and guns. They are more popular with rich businessmen and dignitaries. But some painted boats are more special. You will see later. Lu Ming introduced them while chattering. At the same time, he called a boatman. The two of them took a small boat directly to a 3-story painted boat made of iron and wood. Compared with other painted boats, there are fewer rouge and delicate laughter here. There are no women playing the piano and dancing, nor are there any beautiful women. Most of the guests coming and going are warriors. Walking into the cabin, the 3-story cabin was like a large restaurant. There was a fighting arena in the middle. The guests on the 3 floors around could clearly see the fighting on the arena. There were shouts and noises in each private room. What is this? Wei Hong had a rough idea in his heart. Isn't this just black boxing? To be precise, it shouldn't be called black boxing. After all, fighting is legal in the Great Zhou dynasty. This pleasure boat just uses fighting as a gimmick to attract guests. I didn't expect that the rich and powerful in the prosperous Chengdu would have so many tricks. There are people fighting to the death here, and there are also people buying and selling gambling odds. After each fight, there are excited shouts all around, which makes people quite addicted. How is it? Not bad. Lu Ming pointed to a private room on the 2nd floor and said, Chen Qing'an and the others are here too. This private room has been booked by them for a long time. Let's go directly there. Oh. Wei Hong looked strange. It seems that the so-called drinking today has a deeper meaning. Chen Qing'an was the woman in red who whipped him with a long whip on his first day at the Iron Fist martial arts school, leaving him covered in wounds and giving him money as a reward. She was close to a bunch of rich kids in the gym. She was also one of the most likely to reach the blood refining realm and become the master's personal disciple. Lu Ming brought him here on purpose, probably for other reasons. Chapter 47 Helping Hand, Superior Horse versus Inferior Horse. In the private room number 37 on the 2nd floor of the painting boat, Chen Qing'an, Kui Yongfu, Xianghao and 7 or 8 other young men and women sat together drinking, looking at the fighting on the arena from time to time, chatting and laughing from time to time. The atmosphere was just right. When Lu Ming and Wei Hong walked in, they were all stunned. Lu Ming, what are you doing? Kui Yongfu, who was short and fat, frowned and said, aren't you short of people? Lu Ming pulled Wei Hong to sit down without courtesy, poured himself a glass of wine and said, he just broke through to the middle stage of the skin refining realm and was promoted to the 2nd level sparring partner of the martial arts hall. I brought him here to take a look. If he is suitable, he will go. If not, we will have a drink. Oh my, so fast breakthrough? Good guy. You are not bad, Wei Hong. Awesome, you are only 16 years old? You have a bright future in blood refining. Everyone's eyes lit up. These people are all rich children who usually practice with Wei Hong. They are naturally sharp-eyed and can see at a glance that he has a bright future. A 16-year-old in the middle stage of the skin refining realm may not be considered a big deal among the rich families. But in ordinary families, he is definitely a top talent. Wei Hong, congratulations. Chen Qing'an smiled and raised her glass first, saying, you can come and play anytime you have time in the future. We will prepare a bed for you. Yes, if you think highly of us, let's drink together. Xiang Hao, who looked rough, also toasted generously. Everyone has long lost the arrogance of being a gold master in the past. There's only the attitude of peers interacting with each other. Thank you. Wei Hong smiled, neither humble nor arrogant, and sat down to drink directly. The families in this small circle are either doing business, or running a restaurant, or running an escort agency, and there are even elders in the family who are minor officials of several ranks. They are not as good as the best in this world, but better than the worst. Although Wei Hong is just a pig butcher now, as long as he does not die, he will definitely enter the blood refining realm in the future. A blood refining realm warrior is already a mainstay in many small forces, and is fully qualified to protect a local merchant. Everyone understands this principle, so Wei Hong is theoretically qualified to enter this circle. Why? Lu Ming asked with a smile. You don't blame me for bringing someone here casually, right? Brother Wei has profound boxing skills, and now he has broken through to the middle stage of skin refining, and his strength has increased dramatically. Naturally, he is qualified to come here. Chen Qingshuang curled her lips and smiled lightly. We will have 3 fights with a Black Bear martial arts school later. I wonder if Brother Wei is willing to help. Oh. Wei Hong had long heard that the disciples of the major martial arts schools often had conflicts in private, and from time to time they would pull people around to help win. I didn't expect that he was pulled here for this idea, which was quite interesting. I am just a sparring partner, so it's okay to have a fight today. Wei Hong readily agreed, and everyone was immediately happy. Okay. Xiang Hao said excitedly, the damn Black Bear martial arts school came here with great force today. We thought we were the lose face. If Brother Wei is willing to come, we may win. I have an idea. Chen Qingshuang sneered, if we play well, it is possible to piss them off to death. Everyone was talking about it. Wei Hong also got the general idea from a few words. The Black Bear martial arts school has always been on par with the Iron Fist martial arts school in strength. There are disputes among the disciples from time to time. Every time they would arrange a fight in private to resolve the disputes. This time, the opponent is a group of rich children from the Black Bear martial arts school. Their family background, means and strength are comparable to those of Chen Qingshuang and others. The two sides have fought several times before, and each time they won and lost. This time, the other side found a few good players and agreed to send one person each from the middle, late and perfect stages of skin refining. The 3 battles will decide the outcome. Before Wei Hong came, they were all frowning. Because they underestimated the enemy, Xiang Hao and his group did not seek help from others, so they had no chance of winning. They were afraid that they would be embarrassed today. However, Wei Hong's arrival made Chen Qingshuang's eyes light up. Today's battle only stipulates that one person from the middle, late and perfect stages of the leather refining realm will fight, but the order of fighting has not been stipulated. Why don't we fight the late stage of leather refining against the middle stage, and the perfect stage of leather refining against the late stage? Brother Wei just needs to hold off the opponent's perfect stage of leather refining. In this way, even if we lose 1 game, we can win 2 games. It's not a loss. Chen Qingshuang's words immediately made Wei Hong drop his jaw. My goodness, is this a game of superior horse against inferior horse? So today he is the inferior horse? Since it's the 3rd match, we don't care about the outcome, just send out a mid-stage skin refining warrior. Wei Hong couldn't help asking, why do you have to let me go? Brother Wei, you don't know. Xiang Hao smiled awkwardly. The skin refining warrior that Black Bear martial arts school invited to help today is Mencation, who is known as the Iron Tower King Kong. This man is violent and murderous, and he will hurt people's bones and take their lives at any time. Wei Hong. How could he not hear the hidden meaning at this time? Xiang Hao clearly meant that if he played tricks on him like this, Mencation would probably use heavy hands in a rage, so that no one would dare to go to the 3rd match, and the only person he could think of was Wei Hong. Brother Wei, don't get me wrong. We don't want you to die. Chen Qingshuang said quickly, although Mencation is very strong, his steps are not flexible. It's just that his natural strength makes it difficult for people to resist. I see that you are good at dodging when you practice with others. It's not easy for even the late stage of skin refining to hit you. Now you must be even more powerful after the breakthrough. You just need to go on stage and fight with him for a while before admitting defeat. In this way, no one can find any fault with you, and it won't cause any danger to you. Wei Hong's expression eased a little after hearing this. If they wanted to use him as a gun, he would naturally not agree. Now Chen Qingshuang's words made some sense. At the same time, he also wanted to try the skills of mencation, so he couldn't help but be moved. Brother Wei, if you are willing to fight, we will not let you suffer any loss. Kui Yongfu patted his chest and said, no matter what the result of this battle is, we will all collect 100 taels to compensate you. How about it? How can 100 taels be enough? Xiong Hao said dissatisfiedly, how about this? If we win this battle, the 500 taels bet with the Black Bear Martial Arts School will also belong to Brother Wei. Yes, let's do it. Brother Wei, why don't you consider it? Everyone talked at once, obviously wanting to give him this face. Wei Hong knew very well that they were asking him to help on the surface, but in fact they just wanted to bring the two sides closer and invest in their martial arts genius in advance, so he didn't refuse without knowing what was good for him. Okay. He raised his glass and agreed, in this case, Wei will fight with audacity, and I hope I won't hold you back. Ha ha ha. No need to worry. Come on, keep drinking. Everyone continued to clink glasses while talking and laughing. The atmosphere in the private room became heated again. Chapter 48 Hidden Weapons, Defeating the Strong with the Weak. Dong, dong, dong. 3 gongs and drums were struck on the martial arts arena in the painting boat just after a competition ended. A middle-aged fat man in brocade clothes came up to the stage with a smile and bowed to all directions, saying, everyone, today, several disciples of the Iron Fist Martial Arts School and the Black Bear Martial Arts School want to use this place to arrange a few battles to resolve some grievances. This time, each side will send out a warrior in the middle, late, and perfect stages of skin refining. I hope you can be a witness. Good. There were bursts of cheers all around. Anyone who came to the painting boat to watch martial arts fights likes to watch others fight privately. After all, fighting over grievances is exciting, and it can easily hurt people's lives. This is how to rouse the bloodthirsty emotions in everyone's hearts. Humph. The door of the private room on the other side of the second floor was pushed open, revealing several young men and women in gorgeous clothes. Among them, a skinny young man jumped onto the martial arts arena and looked at the private room where the people from the Iron Fist Martial Arts School were with a defiant and provocative look on his face. Lin Lu from the Black Bear Martial Arts School, mid-stage skin refining strength. The skinny young man sneered and clasped his fists. Who from the Iron Fist Martial Arts School is here to die? I'll meet you. Chen Qingshuang jumped up and jumped onto the martial arts arena, looking at the other person with a playful face. What's going on? Isn't the third lady of the Chang family in the late stage of skin refining? Good fellow, you are trying to cheat me. Everyone was in an uproar. Several disciples of the Black Bear Martial Arts School were so angry that they slammed the table. Chen Qingshuang. A purple-robed young man roared angrily, do you still have shame? A late stage of skin refining bullies a mid-stage. How shameless. Chen Qingshuang sneered and retorted, we only agreed to send one person each from the mid-stage, late stage, and perfect stage of skin refining, but we didn't agree on the order of fighting. I am the weakest among the 3 people on our side. If not me, who else can go on the field? Ha ha ha. The crowd burst into laughter. Obviously everyone has seen the intention of this move. But the rules of the martial arts arena are like this. Once on the stage, you can only fight to the end. You are not allowed to admit defeat or surrender within half a cup of tea, and your life or death can only be left to fate. The skinny young man Lin Lu was so angry that his face turned red, but he could only swallow his anger and get ready for a fight to the death. Waste, get out. Chen Qingshuang didn't even bother to use weapons. She approached quickly like a butterfly, with small and nimble steps. A set of bone-breaking palm techniques was fierce, and it was hard to resist. In just 7 or 8 moves, Lin Lu had been hit by several palms. In the end, he was hit hard on the heart. Puff. Lin Lu flew back 3 meters and vomited blood. So far, he easily lost the first fight. Ha ha ha. Xiong Hao laughed and jumped onto the fighting stage. He said proudly in the direction of the Black Bear Martial Arts Hall, Su Mufeng, come down and fight. You and I have fought for so many years. I have luckily broken through to the perfection of skin refining a few days ago. You are not afraid, are you? Brother Feng, don't go. Damn these bastards. Everyone in the Black Bear Martial Arts Hall looked at a strong young man. He smiled nonchalantly and said, Xiong Hao and I know each other well. If he challenges me to a fight and I dare not agree, Can I still hold my head up in the future? Winning or losing doesn't matter, but I can't lose face. Let's fight. After that, Su Mufang also jumped onto the fighting stage. The two of them fought crazily on the stage. Wei Hong couldn't help but be secretly surprised when he saw this scene. No wonder Cheng Qingshuang and others wanted to play some tricks today. It turned out that Xiang Hao had just broken through. But he and Su Mufang are very powerful. The two were both top-notch in both boxing and kicking skills, as well as body awareness. It can be seen that they not only practiced a lot in daily combat, but also had solid basic skills. Xiang Hao was now perfect in his skin refining, and his boxing skills were even more powerful. Although Su Mufang was slightly weaker, he was actually very good at using hidden weapons. He had 3 cloth bags hanging around his waist, which were full of locust stones. The stones popped out of his hands one by one, as fierce as bullets, and even made Xiang Hao a little embarrassed. Huh? Wei Hong's eyes suddenly lit up. Hidden weapons are a good skill. He can brush up his proficiency and add points. If he can brush up a hidden weapon skill to the limit, wouldn't he have an extra means to fight the enemy? In the fight, he only needs to use a few unexpected moves, and maybe he can turn the situation around and defeat the strong with the weak? After realizing this, Wei Hong felt good immediately. He thought that his trip today was not in vain. After a hard fight, Xiang Hao finally defeated Su Mufang by a slight advantage. So far, the Iron Fist School has won 2 games. Everyone in the Black Bear School was furious. A burly man with a black beard and a burly figure like an iron tower jumped off the fighting stage with a bang. He twisted his neck and grinned. Okay, since the Iron Fist School has won 2 games by cheating, I want to see how you win this time. Iron Tower King Kong Mencation. Good guy, no wonder the Iron Fist School is cheating. Who can win after him? Isn't this bullying? Everyone was talking about it. Obviously, this Mencation is quite famous. Brother Wei, you should be careful. Lu Ming frowned and reminded, this guy is born with supernatural power and is as violent as a tiger. He has a great reputation for 20 consecutive victories. You just need to dodge for half a cup of tea and admit defeat. If you can't do it, jump off the fighting stage, but don't try to be brave. No problem. Wei Hong walked onto the stage fearlessly. It can be seen that Mencation is definitely the top existence in the leather refining realm, much stronger than Zhang Fushan, and such a person is just as a whetstone. If he can escape from his hands unscathed, Wei Hong will have more confidence in facing Zhang Fushan. What? Mencation looked at him with disdain, and sneered with disdain. Aren't you Iron Fist Martial Arts School arrogant? Why did you send a little white face like you to fight? The nameless ghosts who will not die under my fist, tell me your name. Wei Hong, the middle stage of the leather refining realm, please teach me. Wei Hong had just finished speaking with a fist, and bursts of laughter rang out all around. Mencation was even more happy to grin. Okay, you are teasing me, right? Send a middle stage of the leather refining realm to humiliate me? I hope you can climb down the fighting stage later. Ha ha ha, it seems that blood will be seen today. Damn, no one died after fighting for a whole day, it's too boring, let's get started. Kill him, kill him. There were bursts of booing in the private rooms around. Everyone wants to see exciting and brutal scenes. Mencation pinched his knuckles and walked over step by step like a mountain. The blood in his body was surging to the point of suffocating people. Wei Hong raised his hand and made the starting posture of the 5-beast fist. Bursts of laughter rang out again from the upper and lower parts of the pleasure boat. Ha ha ha, 5-beast fist? This kid must have been briefed. He wants to fight Mencation with such basic boxing skills. I bet he can't withstand a punch. Damn, kill him, hammer him into meat paste. Amidst the cheers, Mencation punched him fiercely. But facing this punch, Wei Hong did not dodge or avoid. He even took the initiative to stick his left arm to protect his head and rammed past with his elbow. Please vote and read more. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49. Put all your strength into counterattack. Bang! A fist hit Wei Hong's elbow fiercely. He felt like he was hit by a rhinoceros. The elbow bone was almost broken, and his body flew backwards unconsciously. But Wei Hong had expected this. He just took a punch on purpose to test the opponent's strength. He took a few steps back to release the force. After shaking his numb elbow, he sneered disdainfully, "That's it? You're looking for death?" Meng Qian's face turned pale instantly. He thought that he was dealing with a little guy in the middle stage of the leather refining realm. One punch would be enough to kill the opponent, but who would have thought that he would be provoked? Die for me. Meng Qian swung his fists wildly in anger. The martial arts arena had already been shrouded by his fists. When everyone was frightened and thought that Wei Hong was going to be unlucky, he smiled disdainfully and calmly stepped back. He easily dodged the attack with a few nimble steps. No matter how strong you are, you have to hit the target. Wei Hong's eyes were burning and confident. Meng Qian's punch just now had at least 1,300 kilograms of force. If he hit with all his strength, I'm afraid even 1,800 kilograms of force would not be enough. Such a powerful enemy is definitely not something he can defeat now, but in a flash he also saw the opponent's details. As Cheng Qingshuang said, this Meng Qian's steps are not very agile. He is too big to control it freely. He has too much strength and he puts all his strength into every punch. The weakest point of this kind of power-type warrior is speed and reaction. It just so happens that Wei Hong's perfect level 5 Beast Fist has both the agility of a monkey and the speed of a white crane. He can easily dodge attacks by turning and moving in a small range. For a while, the two figures on the stage chased each other and dodged. No matter how furious Meng Qian was to catch Wei Hong, he was always one step behind. At first glance, it looked like a monkey being teased, which was ridiculous. Everyone present was dumbfounded. Because no one expected a warrior in the middle stage of the leather refining realm. It was too much to make a fool of a perfect warrior in the skin refining realm. This? How is this possible? What a monkey rushing! Look at his white crane wings, it changes so quickly. The fighting arena is only a few feet in radius, but he can make such a decisive judgment and dodge the attack in a flash. My God, isn't this too dangerous? Many people gasped in fear. Because anyone could see that Wei Hong was dancing on the edge of a knife. If he made a mistake, he would most likely be torn to pieces by the furious Meng Qian on the spot, and at worst his HUD would be blown up. Gradually, everyone looked at him with more solemnity. It was really shocking that a mid-stage skin refining realm could do this. He was like a piece of beautiful jade buried in the soil. No matter how much filth it had, it could not hide its own radiance, and it eventually blinded everyone's eyes. Good boy. Cheng Qingshuang couldn't help but mutter, I thought he was at most a talent in the blood refining realm, but now it seems that he has a bright future. At the age of 16, he is in the middle stage of the leather refining realm, and his 5 Beast Fist already has the aura of a master. Xiang Hao said with trembling lips, if he was born in a wealthy and powerful family, we might not even be worthy of carrying his shoes. Horrible, really terrifying. Lu Ming couldn't help but sigh again and again. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Wei Hong became more and more courageous. In such a high-intensity battle, a normal person would definitely consume physical strength very quickly, and would be exhausted within a few dozen breaths. But Wei Hong didn't. His eyes were still bright. His movements were still as fast as lightning, and even when Meng Qian was panting and slowing down his attack, he could still make a perfect provocative counterattack to stimulate the other party. Oh no, something's going to happen. In the private room of the Black Bear Martial Arts Hall, Su Mufeng's face changed drastically. With rich combat experience, he could tell something was wrong at a glance. This Wei Hong was too weird, and he seemed to have only the strength of the middle stage of the leather refining realm. But his strength, speed, and reaction are far beyond the mid-term, and his endurance is terrifying, as if he has endless energy. This kind of enemy is too scary. As long as you can't kill him with one punch, he will continue to consume you endlessly. Brother Meng, make a quick decision. Su Mufeng growled anxiously. Meng Qian roared like crazy and launched a violent attack again. Fists, palm winds, and leg sweeps, each of his attacks carried a huge force of more than 1,000 pounds. If he accidentally touched the iron and wooden railings of the fighting arena, he could blow them into powder. But Wei Hong was still like a loach. Every time he could easily dodge his attacks from incredible angles. Wei Hong had even gradually mastered the rhythm of his attacks, found the flaws in his body, and launched a counterattack when the fist wind swept through again. Bang! Wei Hong's ghostly figure quietly avoided the attack. He flashed to the left of Meng Qian and kicked him in the knee. Wei Hong felt like he had hit a brick wall. Not only was it difficult to shake the opponent, but he was even damaged by a rebound force, and was almost hit back. Haha. Meng Qian sneered disdainfully, without even a sway in his body. Wei Hong's full-strength attack was just like an egg hitting a stone for him. But then, Wei Hong took advantage of Meng Qian's severe physical exhaustion. He looked for opportunities to attack his back knee again and again. Damn it! Meng Qian was furious. He had already been invulnerable to swords and guns after his perfect skin refining, and ordinary attacks were just tickling for him. However, Wei Hong's repeated attacks still caused him a lot of trouble. His back knee was relatively fragile, and a series of beatings made his movements deformed. Almost all the spectators had their eyes popped out. If he was allowed to fight again, Meng Qian would not lose, right? Stop. Su Mufang couldn't help shouting, "The time is up, this fight is a draw." Draw? Unbelievable. Oh my god, the time is up. Tisk, 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 awesome, the Black Bear Martial Arts School doesn't dare to fight anymore, right? Everyone was in an uproar. There was indeed a rule in the pleasure boat that a draw would be reached after the time was up. Therefore, Su Mufang called a halt as soon as he saw the time was up, so he had a way out. Otherwise, if he continued to fight, he was afraid that if Meng Qian really lost, he would be laughed at by all the gods. Boy, you're lucky. Meng Qian gritted his teeth and said, Wei Hong, right? Okay, I'll remember you, let's wait and see. Haha. Wei Hong was not afraid of this kind of insignificant threat. He walked down the fighting stage silently under the surprised and shocked gaze of everyone. There was no trace of pride in his eyes, but he was silently summing up in his heart. I used my full strength to attack but could only tickle the opponent. The gap in strength is still too big. If I meet a skin-refining realm perfect who is good at body movement, I'm afraid I'll be in danger today. Chapter 50, Forging a Sword, Comparing yourself to others will make you feel pissed. Brother Wei, you are awesome. Your skills are more terrifying than before, aren't they? What a monster. I can't help but admit defeat. As soon as they returned to the private room, Cheng Qingshuang, Kui Yongfu, Xianghao and others exclaimed in amazement. Originally, everyone just hoped that he could hold on for half a cup of tea before admitting defeat. Who would have thought that Wei Hong could force the Black Bear Martial Arts School to call a halt? Although it was just a draw, it earned enough face. Haha, this battle will make Su Mufang and others laugh at us for several years. Xianghao laughed and said, Brother Wei, are you still killing pigs in the butcher shop? It's a waste of your talent to kill pigs. How about this, come to my escort agency and be an escort. You don't need to escort before the blood refining realm, and I will give you 20 taels of silver per month. What's an escort? It's poor and tiring, and there's no future. Kui Yongfu said dissatisfiedly, Brother Wei, come to our Kui's restaurant to register, and you don't have to do anything every day. 30 taels of silver per month before the skin refining realm, and 200 taels per month after the blood refining realm. You are so embarrassed to offer this little money. Cheng Qingshuang sneered and said, Wei Hong, if you are willing to marry into my Cheng family, all the resources for your future practice can be taken care of by our family. All kinds of superior martial arts secrets can be collected for you. You can choose any unmarried girls from my Cheng family's side branches. Isn't this wonderful? Everyone wanted to recruit him. The martial arts were prevalent in the Great Zhou dynasty, and all the big and small business forces like to win over the strong. Even if you just put your name on the list, people will rush to give you money, so the real strong will never be short of money. The talent that Wei Hong has shown now naturally makes people want to invest. Everyone, I'm really sorry. Wei Hong raised his glass and said with an apologetic smile, I don't care much about money, and I like the life of the city, so I still want to stay in the butcher shop to slaughter pigs. Now I slaughter pigs every day and work as a sparring partner in the martial arts gym in my spare time. Life is very comfortable. I don't want to be affiliated with any force for the time being, hope you can understand. Okay. Cheng Qingshuang was not angry, but her face was full of admiration. You are a steady person, and you haven't been blinded by this life of decadence and decadence. Ha ha ha. Xianghao also laughed heartily. Don't blame me, Brother Wei, it's really your talent that makes people jealous. We have learned to run the family business since childhood, and we habitually want to win over one or two. But your ambition is not here, it's okay, our friendship is as pure as water, and we can just practice boxing and drink when we have nothing to do. Their behavior inevitably made Wei Hong look up to them. willing to treat people with respect and courtesy to attract talents for the family, and not turning against each other after failing to attract talents. The descendants educated by the rich and powerful are indeed extraordinary, without any bad habits of the dandy boys. No wonder they can be passed down from generation to generation. Although Wei Hong did not plan to completely integrate into this circle, but it is still good to get along with their friends. More friends, more ways. He is still clear about the importance of connections. Therefore, he will not refuse any toasts. Soon, he drank with everyone, and the atmosphere gradually became hot. When the wine was drunk, Xiang Hao couldn't help but sigh. Think about it, we have been using soup and medicine to refine our bones since childhood, practicing boxing at the age of 3 and practicing martial arts at the age of 6. It took more than 10 years to reach our current strength, and we spent countless resources of the family. Compared with Brother Wei, I am really ashamed. That's right, people are so annoying when compared to each other. Ha ha ha, compared with Wei Hong, we are really useless. Everyone laughed at themselves. Lu Ming thought for a moment and reminded, but since we have offended Su Mufang and others today, will Wei Hong be retaliated by them? No. Chen Qingshuang shook her head and said, they are not people who cannot afford to lose, so they will not deliberately embarrass Wei Hong. It is Meng Qian who has a violent personality. Martial artists are all proud. Wei Hong raised his eyebrows indifferently. If people knew that he could not kill me in the fighting arena and attack me in secret, he would only become a laughingstock. Anyone with a brain would not do this, and the family behind him would never allow it. Yes, that makes sense. Everyone nodded. Chen Qingshuang smiled at this, clapped her hands and asked the maid to bring a stack of silver notes, saying, we agreed on a reward of 100 taels, plus a bet of 500 taels. Brother Wei, count it. No need to count, I trust Miss Cheng. Wei Hong was not polite. He accepted the silver note calmly, but he felt a little dazed in his heart. 600 taels. Grandpa worked hard and could not save it in 10 lifetimes. It would take him 20 years to save up, even if he didn't eat or drink from killing pigs. But for Chen Qingshuang and others, it might just be the money for a meal. The gap between people is really ridiculous. After drinking until the afternoon, Wei Hong finally said goodbye and left. He stepped out of the pleasure boat and went straight to the blacksmith shop on West Street. Today's battle with Meng Qian made him feel powerless. Obviously, his boxing skills were more exquisite and his steps were more clever, but his attacks on the opponent were like a gnat trying to shake a tree, which only made him laugh. He couldn't even break the defense. This feeling is really uncomfortable. Think about what would happen if Zhang Fuxian also had this kind of defense. Wei Hong thought about it and naturally decided to make a weapon. Even if it was just a small knife, it would at least be better than fighting the enemy with his bare hands. Also, it's best to get a copy of the secret manual of hidden weapons as soon as possible. Practice it every day when you are free. As you get older, your proficiency will increase. At that time, it will be good to have one more means to fight against the enemy. After thinking for a while, Wei Hong found a remote blacksmith shop. There was only a bald middle-aged strong man hammering in this shop. The air was full of the smell of burning coal, and the ears were filled with a sound of ding-ding. There were only some ordinary iron tools such as hoes, sickles, and kitchen knives hanging on the walls. However, Wei Hong knew that this blacksmith who was a great man. He was aloof and taciturn, and never talked with neighbors. He was only obsessed with the craft of blacksmithing. Most people might just think he was an ordinary blacksmith. But the hooligans who hang around on the street knew that this blacksmith who not only had good martial arts, but also many martial arts masters often paid him a lot of money to make knives. No one could mess with him casually. Wei Hong walked into the blacksmith shop without looking around. He just waited quietly for the blacksmith to finish hammering the iron block in his hand, and then politely said, Master Hu, please help me make a small knife. Style and materials. The blacksmith was concise. The blade is 3 inches long, slender and well-proportioned, without a blood groove. Wei Hong described it while picking up the charcoal beside the stove and drawing on the ground. The handle and scabbard are made of spruce wood, and the blade is made of black iron that has been folded and forged more than 1,000 times. It must be sharp, tough, and have outstanding armor-piercing ability. In addition, there must be a hole for threading the rope at the rear end of the handle. The blacksmith took a deep look at him and quoted a price indifferently, 480 taels. Wei Hong breathed a sigh of relief and said, make me another 100 black iron plum blossom needles. 580 taels, Come back in 3 days. Please vote and read more. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.